What's going on? Happy Tuesday and good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Yesterday, Titans sent Malik Willis to the Packers in exchange for a 2025 seventh-round pick. Willis is likely the backup to Jordan Love, leaving the Titans with just Will Levis and Mason Rudolph in their quarterback room. Some of the big names yesterday who also were cut: Bucs wide receiver Sterling Shepard, Lions wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones, Ravens wide receiver Russell Gage. The Vikings cut bait with quarterback Matt Corral, and the 49ers with running back Matt Breida. That was some of the many cuts and trades that will happen today, and rosters have to be cut down by 3 p.m. to get down to the initial 53-man roster. You can stay right here on 104.5 The Zone to stay up to date with any roster cut-down transactions. And the big contract that got done yesterday, Cowboys and All-Pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb reaching an agreement on a 4-year, $136 million deal that makes him the second highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. The deal includes a $38 million signing bonus and $100 million guaranteed. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Tuesday morning beginning right now on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW 104.5 The Zone, as cut day is upon us in the National Football League. Yesterday, the Titans end the Malik Willis era in Tennessee and have some troubling injuries on the linebacker front. Lots to discuss in the National Football League. There are 4 days to go until Tennessee football. Gerald Jones days until Vols and Mocs on Saturday, which, of course, you'll be able to hear right here on 104.5 The Zone. Austin Price joins us at 8:20 and Ron Slay at 9:20. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Robert Walsh, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. It is Tuesday, August the 27th, and finally, we don't have to spend so much time talking about the third-string quarterback. How are we?
Although we will touch on it a little bit.
Yeah, we will still today,
Not
baby.
nearly as much.
Not nearly as much.
Finally.
Either way, man, we are here. Good for Malik, though.
I know.
Great for Malik.
I was
Great for
really
Malik.
actually excited for him when I saw the news yesterday, just because I think if there's any organization you can go to that's been known for just having a great tradition in developing quarterbacks and just the way that they kind of treat their players up there, Green Bay is a good place.
They develop starting quarterbacks.
Unless
That's
you
for
Aaron
sure.
Rodgers looking for a first-round wide receiver.
They got Matt Flynn paid.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think it's a good spot, though. If he's going to be a backup in any place, I think it's a decent place to be. Jordan Love seems to be a cool guy, too, and hopefully they can kind of work together there. If he goes down, Malik will have the opportunity to step up now.
It was kind of odd for me that he went there because they already had two quarterbacks who were draft picks. Michael Pratt out of Tulane and then Sean Clifford out of Penn State. So I wonder who the odd man out there
Clifford's
is.
gone, I think.
Clifford's gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Is that
I think
official?
That came out late, maybe?
Yeah, I heard two pros and a couple of Joe say that this morning. Apparently, overnight, they said he was going to be out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
That's a tough text to wake up to.
Right?
Oh,
By the way, you're fired.
You know who
You're outta
Sean
here.
Clifford took the Penn State job from?
Will Levis.
Correct.
Yeah.
Did he really?
It's all full circle.
Man, look at
In a
Malik.
weird way.
He comes here, Malik
Yeah.
go boots him out. Like, that's a payback for Malik
That's
Willis.
funny.
I mean,
Kinda
for
wild.
Will Levis then, ain't it? I wonder if he's taking a bottle of mayonnaise flavored cologne to him
Right?
also. Too.
Spritz
It's
the
like, hey,
locker room.
Will told me to give you this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah.
Parting gift, Sean Clifford.
Yeah. I think it also, the small bit of conversation we had yesterday about Malik just not having a full opportunity here from the get-go, as far as the pick may not have been necessary here in Nashville, I think is also coming to light also to me. It's you knew there was a lot of growth that had to be had with Malik Willis. You understood that the last regime here probably just didn't have the patience, or the coaches will do it, man. A major shout out to Bo Hardigree, the Titans quarterback coach this year, man, has at least helped him develop as far as the play calling goes.
Yep.
But Malik has worked a ton in the offseason. It's been documented. He said it time and time again on how he's tried to change his skill set and be a better quarterback, and this was going to be the pathway to it. It's just that it sucks for this team here in the sense that that third-round pick that you used on him could have been a wide receiver or a linebacker or anything, and at least you get something out of it more than anything. Right now you get a 7th-round pick for it. So
that's the thing. I mean, we didn't know exactly, what was going to happen with him. We all agreed, and I think you brought up a trade yesterday, that he'd probably at least be on the practice squad. But yeah, if you're able to muster up a pick, and you wonder too, relationships are so much in this business, a big part of it. And Rand's relationship with the 49ers, we've seen some business from them lately. Chad Brinker's relationship with the Green Bay Packers, those are relationships you can talk behind the scenes and maybe work out things like this. It's a 7th-round pick, I get it, but it's a pick instead of just letting him go.
Yeah.
So
it is more than I thought they'd get for him. No doubt. It's something. And considering the way that this team, I think, drafted this past year, I mean, Jalen Harrell's a 7th-round pick, and he's this team's 3rd best edge rusher.
Yeah.
So at this point, I mean, I think the Titans now are going to transition from a stage of making the L'Jarius Sneed trade, obviously making the Will Levis trade and giving away 3rds in both of those, and now might be in the stockpiling picks phase, because that's what they're going to have to do in order to not have to buy an entire free agent class with the amount of money that they did over this past offseason. But I think Titans fans will always love Malik Willis because of the way he carried himself the whole time he was here. And I do think that Malik always represented a modern offense under a coaching staff that maybe didn't represent a modern offense. And there was always that hope of, like, we get so obsessed with copycats and we get so obsessed with some of us just having some sort of, like, you get 1% of Patrick Mahomes. Just give me one thing Patrick Mahomes can do. And we obsess over that as NFL fans. So I think the two parts of that contribute to the Malik Willis love in Nashville, is that he just represented the future. And he always represented this nebulous, like, oh, maybe if he can get it right, he could be great, while also carrying himself in a really positive and professional and classy way. So wish him all the best. He'll get a chance to be a backup for a long time there and end up being a good spot for him.
Yeah, and then they'll see the Green Bay Packers, week 3 into the season. So, I mean, clearly you're probably not going to see Malik Willis in that game, but you will get to say hi to him.
You will, man. But it was good, man. They could have sent him anywhere. He could have sent him to a really bad place. At least he gets to go to a spot where they're at least competing for their division championship. Sure. And, I mean, it ain't nothing in Green Bay. So there's that.
Football is all there is.
He can really focus in on being a pro, because there is, you want to talk about going from Nashville to Green Bay, Wisconsin. I mean, we went there and tried to find a nice steak place. I'm telling you, this was a cafe. You hear me?
Sure.
Yeah, it was good. I ain't going to crap on them that much, okay? They didn't land the cheese
Homegrown
and everything.
Food, home cooking.
It's good food everywhere.
Yeah, it's good food everywhere. But
it's still an NFL city.
it was cold as heck there, okay? I just need y'all to understand. It was cold. And we were walking downtown to this restaurant. Restaurant was cool. It just looked like what you think a Green Bay, Wisconsin steakhouse would look like. And it was fair. It was fine.
That's why it's wild that the draft is there.
Well,
I love it.
For history.
I love
Like,
it.
it's just wild. Like, everybody's got to be staying an hour out of town.
Yeah, you
There's
do.
just not enough. There's not enough lodging there.
Yes,
Right?
You do.
I guess their fans will go.
When I went there was actually a lot of hotels. They're
Really?
like little mom and pops places. Now, I haven't been there since like 2013. That was the only time I've ever been.
It's way better now.
Yeah, sure. And Brett Favre's Steakhouse is closed, so you don't have to worry about being peer pressured into eating there.
Or being
It closed down.
having your card swiped for. Never mind.
Oh,
Never mind.
I was going to say, I thought Brett Favre really cared about the welfare of people in Green Bay. To find out more, Google Brett Favre welfare.
They have a really cool zoo there. No, to no one's surprise
Please
that I
don't
went
sue
to
me,
the zoo
For
defamation.
Brett
Yeah.
Favre
Doesn't he
breaking.
sue everybody?
Brett Favre sues local Nashville radio host
No.
for encouraging people to Google how much of a fraud he is. is.
Come on, Will. You're really ruining his name. Really dragging his name through the mud.
What do they have at that zoo? I mean, it's not like they have whales, or that's aquarium, I guess.
It was actually it's not like,
Or SeaWorld.
it's not always so cold there. Like when we went, it was brisk. I'm not gonna lie, it was brisk, but it's called Wild Encounters though. So you can go there. It's kind of like a glorified petting zoo, but it's with cool animals. You know what I mean? It's not like you go in there and it's goats and llamas spitting on you. It's cool animals.
Yeah, I feel like zoos at smaller towns like that are just like the guy in the town that has the most animals.
Like Tiger King.
Just like,
How cool would that
there's
be?
my goldfish.
To be the
Y'all.
proprietor of a zoo. You just wake up every morning.
By the way, Green Bay's lodging, they have the Lodge Kohler. Okay, it's
Lodging. What is
Of
this?
course you would look it up.
1820 in a log cabin? What are you talking
it
about?
is essentially is what we're looking at. They got
Sounds
three
great.
nice hotels. The Lodge Kohler
Three
is
nice.
$190 a night. They got the Hyatt Regency,
Okay.
which I'm sure most teams stay in whenever they
Sure.
go. So you won't be able to stay in that one.
Nope.
And they have the Hotel Northland. And the only reason I call this one out because it's an autograph collection. The autograph collections in the cities are nice.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys have heard of this. There's a neighborhood called the Shadow of Lambeau, which is just a residential neighborhood with a bunch of houses in it where people only stay there or rent the houses out during football season. So, like, generally, no one is in that neighborhood except for during football season, and they'll just Airbnb
cool.
and park their cars out or like pay have people.
Come on
You
now.
got this,
Come
Bert.
on.
I'm hurting myself back here. People will pay to park at these houses.
Wow.
Well,
very cool.
New
Let's ride
England's
their
like
bike
that too, I
through them.
think. Have you ever been to Foxborough?
That is in the
have
middle
not.
of nowhere, you
Foxborough's
guys.
exactly like that. Like you drive to Foxborough. One,
Yes.
it is nice driving to it because it's neighborhood, and then poof.
Then it's like
in the middle
shops
of
and
nowhere.
a stadium.
Yeah, I must say the Northeast. Well, they do it. It's very nostalgic when you go up there, as far as saying like, oh, this is how you guys used to live. It's kind of cool.
Old school.
Yeah, it is kind of
enough.
old school.
The receivers drafted in the same round as Malik Willis to the Titans. I've got that for you next. And who failed who? Why did the Malik Willis experiment not work in Tennessee? 615-737-1045. We'll dive into all that next.
Hey, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and then get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment. And the good thing, you can cancel at any time. So just visit FanDuel.com/Kayla. That's FanDuel.com/Kayla to download America's #1 sportsbook. And remember, must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. First online real wager, money wager only, $5 deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets and which expire in 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Tuesday morning, Ramon, Kayla, and Will getting started on 104.5 The Zone and streaming live on 104.5 The Zone TV. And as you watch the show on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, at Ramon, Kayla, Will, where you follow the show on the artist formerly known as Twitter, but still known as Twitter, on this radio program. The other wide receivers who were drafted in the third round of the 2022 NFL Draft, with the Titans drafted now Green Bay Packers backup Malik Willis. So the Titans drafted Malik with the number 86 pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. The group of receivers around him and behind him, honestly, not great. If that makes you feel a little bit better this morning as a Titans fan. So 11 picks before you took Malik. The first receiver in the third round went off the board. This guy's no longer even a receiver. And there's a local tie here.
Ooh.
That should be a dead giveaway.
Guy's no longer a receiver. He's a local tie here.
Velus Jones.
Yeah,
Velus Jones Jr.
was picked by the Chicago Bears at pick 71. That has not worked out in Chicago for Velus or for the Bears. So the Titans picked Malik at 86. 2 picks later, Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama was selected by the Dallas Cowboys, who has been a player. He's been fine. About 400 yards, 500-yard guy. David Bell was picked by the Browns at 99, and Danny Gray was picked by the 49ers. Those are the receivers that were taken in the third round. It's not like you missed out on Amon-Ra St. Brown like you did, previously as well in this draft.
Yeah, no.
So ultimately, for the, conversation of who else could you have had, like sometimes there is an obvious one, like with the Titans picked Racey McMath and then Trey Smith went off the board just a couple picks later. And again, there's extenuating circumstances, but ultimately, how will you judge the Malik Willis era and the decision the Titans made to try to invest in him? Why did it ultimately not work here?
Well, I'll start by saying this first before we go any further. I don't think it was because of Malik is what I'll say. Not because of him is what I'm saying, mostly. There's some fault in trying to get a player to grow, but it's hard to grow under pressure. It's hard to grow when you have a limited amount of time to actually take proper steps. And that's what I think the biggest issue was from Malik Ford. It comes in as a rookie and wasn't supposed to play, and he was thrown into the fire. And he looked like a guy that was out of college that didn't have a whole lot of depth to his game. And again, I've had this conversation before when it comes down to how he was used at Liberty, right? Like, he was told to throw here and if not, be an athlete. Those types of things right there. It's almost like Little League football, or Little League baseball, right? Or flag football. Hey, let's put the ball in the athlete's hand and just let him go. That's essentially what Malik was told to do for the most part at Liberty. The growth of his progressions and seeing defenses and breaking it down and understanding how to delegate the football and pocket presence. Like, these are things he's learned in the last 3 years in the NFL. It's hard to do those things. Like when guys usually come into the league, they have a great baseline of what their skill set is because they've been coached a certain way, because they've played a certain way, and because the expectation of stepping your level up ain't about your physicality and what your natural attributes are. It's about refining your skill set. And that's what Malik didn't have the luxury of doing here. So if you're asking me who was at fault here, I think it started at the draft. There was no need to draft a guy like him here in a place that he wasn't going to have the opportunity to grow. The depth on this team wasn't in a spot to where he was able to operate in an offense that was going to be very productive to him. This was a run-first style of offense.
Yep.
And a play-action style of offense with Ryan Tannehill, who also could run and use his legs, and they didn't do that. I thought initially, okay, Tannehill can move. All right, you go get a guy that can run the exact same way that he can. But when he got injured because of a lack of protection and et cetera, then you have to throw Malik in, and it just wasn't the proper time for a guy like him. I think there probably should have been a guy in front of him as far as maybe Logan Woodside.
And Josh Dobbs assignment.
And Josh Dobbs, right? But it honestly fell down to me, I think, the wrong pick for this city at the time. Mm-hmm. There's no indictment on Malik, but it just wasn't right for this team at the time that was trying to win ASAP. And also, I think a little bit of the coaching. Again, we've heard other players come out and say, Vrabel ain't for a lot of guys. But I know this, though. He seemed to have loved Malik as far as what he wanted out of him, whether that was just lip service to us or whether that was he actually cared about his development. He just didn't have the time to do it. But I think we see now what running the offense in the game for Malik would or should look like. Just look at this preseason. They were able to utilize his legs without overexposing him. And then also the constant challenge of keeping him in the pocket has always been there with this staff. As far as the offense that he's been asked to run, now again, he's got to get his timing down and know when to get rid of the ball, etc. But this group, I feel like they were more equipped to understanding how to produce for a quarterback like Malik. And on top of that, they had a big enough staff. You got to think they got 3 dudes on this staff currently that can really cater to the quarterback. You got the head coach, quarterback guy, from what we understand, Nick Holtz, quarterback guy from what we understand, and then he actually has a quarterback coach in Bo Hardegree too.
Yep.
So there's actually time that can be given to a guy like Malik here. So I will say this. I don't know if the Titans fleece Green Bay also because of all the attention that he had. But
got to do it while the iron's hot.
It's a 7th-round pick.
I don't know what he's going to look like in Green Bay without this group or staff around him. And it is a 7th-round pick, but you still get a pick back to a team that doesn't necessarily trade draft picks like that. Green Bay, they don't dabble in giving away draft picks for players like that.
That's why I brought up Chad Brinker. I feel like, just the connection up there, you're talking with certain organizations about trades like that, which there's not a ton that you can get in return for it, but clearly they convinced them enough with whatever they showed them specifically this year, I think, in the game film. And I think that last game probably left a good taste for a lot of people just because of the way it ended. And he had 2 touchdowns, one in the 2-minute drill coming down the stretch to win the game. I know it's a preseason, but it's still a body of work. And it shows some resiliency in a quarterback. So I thought that probably was a good little bow to tie to send up to Green Bay to say, here you go. Because who knows how long they've been, kind of talking with them about this. What I'll say about the Malik Willis field experience here is I'm going to go back to John Robinson. And again, there were some questions. This was a John Robinson draft. This was not a Rand Carthon draft, by the way. So when I was hearing some of the draft picks that had happened that have not panned out for the Tennessee Titans, it's almost been like J-Rob got a taste of what it was like to hit the jackpot with Jeffrey Simmons. With Jeffrey Simmons being kind of a question mark with the knee injury coming out of college and getting him in the spot where they got him because he dropped, obviously, because there were, injury concerns. It was almost like, okay, J-Rob rolled the dice and took him. That worked out marvelously. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons was back before the season even ended. And that was really, to some, a big surprise coming back from that knee injury. He's been outstanding. He's now the leader of this team. But then it's like J-Rob got a little bit comfortable with rolling the dice. Then you saw the Isaiah Wilson pick. Then you saw the Caleb Farley pick. And then with this type of a pick, I just feel like you were catching lightning in a bottle and you were thinking, I'm going to keep this going because here's a quarterback that was projected to go in the first round. Malik Willis went to the draft that year. He went to the draft in Las Vegas, guys. He had his whole family there. He was expected to be taken no later than probably the top of the 2nd round, to tell you the honest truth. And I remember when he fell to that 3rd round, there was like a lot of conversation, like what's going on? Like the family had went to a bowling alley at that point to kind of just still keep the party going, but it was kind of like quiet at that point because Malik was expected to go. And I feel like he was there and J-Rob thought, here's a project. I'm going to roll the dice again. And I'm going to get this quarterback that everybody was talking about that nobody took. And he's here for the take-in the 3rd round. We're going to take it. Even though it had no like relation to what they were doing in this offense. And you knew it was going to be a long-term project, which you didn't have the parts around him to elevate him. And he was already behind when being from Hugh Freeze's system. So it was a no-win scenario for Malik Willis, in my opinion. And I think he was honestly blessed to have the staff come here this year. And have them at least continue to believe in him, to at least develop him up to this point and send him on his way to another really good organization. So it all maybe works out in the end, but I think from the beginning, there was nothing that made sense about this situation.
I thought the pick made a lot of sense. I just think they needed a specific, perfect, timed plan to get him ready. Like, Jordan Love was not broken out of the incubator until Aaron Rodgers was totally gone and he had ample amount of time. And again, Jordan Love, Malik Willis are very different quarterbacks coming from different systems. But I think the biggest thing that failed Malik was the system he played in college. There are not many Art Briles system adjacent quarterbacks who have success in the National Football League. That's just the fact of the matter. And I do say that as someone wearing a Tennessee polo this morning, because Josh Heupel runs an Art Briles coaching tree system. That's going to be something he will have to work around and prove, is that he can develop quarterbacks for the NFL who could have some kind of success. But I still don't hate the pick as much as I do the next steps for Malik Willis once he got here, because everything needed to be perfectly set in place for him to have success, to be have a chance to be a starter. And he never should have been thrown in there year one when the Titans threw him in and then realized, oh crap, this guy's not anywhere close to being ready, and then had to go get Josh Dobbs. I still don't mind playing the quarterback roulette, but this was not the right staff to develop him. This was not the right staff. I mean, yeah.
There was too much development.
I think there are a lot of quarterbacks who, if they went to a different place, would not have near the success they're having right now. Like, if you throw Jordan Love into a different organization year 1 or 2, like talking about how the Packers develop quarterbacks, you really think Jordan Love is what he is now in 2024? Absolutely not. Again, I don't think Malik Willis ever was going to be a starting quarterback in this league because of the system he came from in college. But I do think he would have had more of a chance if he'd been paired with an Andy Reid, if he'd been paired with a QB guru where he could marinate for 4 years and then go from there. But some guys, it's just, the NFL is just not cut out for them to be a starter, and that's fine.
Yeah, and I think the issue I have with it, and has nothing to do with Malik, because he couldn't choose that he was drafted here. This was a time where we were already not seeing a good return on these draft classes. And you are kind of, in a way, gambling with a piece that, that's a third round pick. Like, we talk about how valuable a third round pick is. You're already kind of getting some feedback with the draft classes you've had and kind of the misses in some of these situations as John Robinson was going through these draft classes. And then you're like, okay, this is another thing. Do we really need to take him in the third round? He's a project, like all the things that we've said. But yeah, it's a quarterback. People always want to roll the dice on it, but it just wasn't even the right fit at that point for their offense. And I think you have to wake up sometimes and say, do we even have the staff to develop him and the time? And like Will said, a plan. I don't think there was a plan. I think that is a little bit of malpractice there on J-Rob's part.
Well, everyone's got a plan. Tannehill got hurt and the plan went out the window.
Yeah, it was, but you got to ask yourself, what was he gonna do here in this situation more than anything? Like, he was a good soldier, went out there and tried to play and win in this offense. It's just that you said, so the plan of Ryan Tannehill not being out there, why wasn't Ryan Tannehill out there? It's because you missed on other draft picks on the offensive line too.
Right.
And that ain't like the only reason, right? But then you're scrambling trying to find other free agents. You look at the Julio Jones signings and losing of A.J. Brown, like the ability to actually have guys around him to either make him better wasn't there either. So the differences to me this year and last year and the year before for Malik was this. Even if you didn't have him up to the skill level that you wanted him to be in, this year in general, I feel like you got guys around him that can make plays, because look at who he was also playing with. 2s and 3s, right, for the most part. But the 2 and 3 offensive line was better this year as far as the teaching and technique. And then also the running backs. He had running backs in the backfield. He got wide receivers like NWI and others that can catch the ball for him too. The last couple of years, who was he throwing to that made you feel like they surrounded Malik in a situation that he could be successful? The same way we're speaking about Will Levis, like the 2s and 3s and quality of that over the last couple of years hasn't been what it is this year. And the overall plan, to me, says a lot about what Malik is capable of doing. That's why I'm asking the question. It's not even my business as it pertains to what happens to him in Green Bay. But the Titans situation might have just been the best one for Malik Willis. It's just not the best one for this team in general, because you need more draft picks. One thing that GMs love, I don't care if they are another first, another fifth, or another seventh, is give me as many at-bats that I possibly can at the draft. And considering it is a seventh this year and what they did with the draft picks this year, and every year won't be the same. But to go in this year's draft with only 5 picks, if I'm not mistaken, now they got 6. I mean, that's right. What you're looking for, because the best way to build a team is to buy young, keep it cheap as you possibly can, and try to get if you believe in your coaching staff, try to get the maximum amount of talent that you can, that the coaches can coach up. Now, again, you look at Malik this year. If Vrabel was still here in his staff, Tim Kelly, could they have gotten Malik to this level of play in this preseason, where he went down and led a game-winning drive?
Nope.
Not just that, but 2 drives to actually keep him in the game. We didn't see it. There was no real proof of it happening. And the method of offense, too, I think, is what set Malik up here more than it would have in a Mike Vrabel, Tim Kelly style offense.
Yeah, I honestly think the staff you have now is one of the staffs in this league who could have developed him into someone who could at least stick in this league longer. I think Malik Willis's ceiling is Josh Dobbs. I think that's the best that he possibly ever could have been in the National Football League. And Josh Dobbs was drafted around the same time. I mean, look, like 3rd, 4th round quarterbacks are where you start to take chances. In worst case, they're backups. Best case, you hit and you get a starter. I mean, there's still a place for backup quarterbacks. That's what Malik Willis is at this point. I don't think he's anywhere close to the best backup quarterbacks in this league. But ultimately, I think with a best situation, that's where he could have been. I think we'd hoped that his ceiling was, guy in Kansas City who throws sidearm, and that was never realistic. But again, like everyone's trying to copycat that style, right?
Yeah. I wanted really quick before we go to break, I wanted to reiterate this draft in 2022 that Malik was a part of, just because it is very interesting. There's still a lot of we don't know yet what we're going to eventually see of this draft. Traylon Burks, Roger McCreary, who we know for sure what that is. That was probably one of the best draft picks that GM John Robinson has made. Yeah. Nicholas Petit-Frere, Malik Willis, Hassan Haskins, Chigakonkwo, Kyle Phillips, Theo Jackson, and Chance Campbell. That's a really interesting draft class where you've kind of seen some return, but there's a lot more questions.
So we got Roger NPF as a starter. Chance's ACL.
And Chigakonkwo.
We'll get to that coming up in a few.
Chig still,
he's still around.
He's still around.
And that was 2 years after going Jeffrey Simmons, A.J. Brown, Nate Davis, Amani Hooker, DeAndre Walker, David Long, which was as close to an A draft as you could possibly get.
Not bad.
Yeah, that was
that
the
2019
best
draft is why they were able to go play for an AFC championship, as those guys were dudes, and pretty much, with the exception of your first 3 picks were major contributors on that team in 2019. Having the duo of Jeffrey Simmons and Jarrell Casey up top. We only got it for about 2 months, but it was very fun for that 2 months. Wow. 615-737-1045 is our number. We are all winners today because just like we talk about the fact that this market has discussed their 4th wide receiver probably more than anybody else in the league, we've also discussed the 3rd quarterback here more than anybody else in the NFL.
Yeah, we have.
Other than maybe the Patriots with Joe Milton.
Yeah, because that's fun up there right now for them. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah, I know.
Coming up, an NFL scout has made a very bold claim about a college football team this year who could be one of the best college football teams in recent memory. And it's not an SEC team. We'll dive into this next. Wrapping up hour one this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW on 1045. The Zone, 615-737-1045. How you send your thoughts? So one NFL scout talking to ESPN.com has compared one team to the 2021 Georgia football squad that had a draft record of 15 players selected in 2022. Would you be surprised if I told you that Ohio State in 2024 is the team in question?
Really?
Not super surprising.
NFL Scout says pound for pound, player for player, they have as many good players as any college football team that I can remember. This was a big story on ESPN.com yesterday about new athletic director Ross Bjork discussing the NIL war chest of $20 million that Ohio State was able to use to secure the transfers of Alabama safety Caleb Downs, Ole Miss running back Quinshon Judkins, the number one wide receiver in the country, Jeremiah Smith, who is seen by many as almost a Marvin Harrison Jr. level talent at this point. Is it literally national championship or failure for Ryan Day and Ohio State this year?
I say yes. Yes, absolutely. With everything that they have, when they're throwing around that much money and this many athletes, yes, 100%. He has to go in, and considering the last national champion came out of their conference, he's got to be feeling the pressure to perform. And if not, Mike Vrabel will be the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes next year.
You'd laugh, but honestly, the talk up there, that's not too far from being a reality.
Straight up.
I mean, we don't know what Mike Vrabel's future is. Right now, he's an analyst for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, he's in Cleveland. I don't know what will happen with that, but it's not too far-fetched, according to up there, what's going on. But this isn't surprising, guys. Ryan Day took over a program that had a lot of great talent there. Oh, yeah. And there wasn't a dip in talent ever. That's the thing. We've never really seen a dip in talent really for a while. You go back to the 2014 national championship. Since then, they've been pretty steady Eddie.
Right.
They've never got back to that championship winning, but they're close. They were dang close. Ryan Day's had opportunities. He's had good quarterbacks. He's had top-end wide receivers. He's had good defenses, but it just hasn't all come together in the right way. And the biggest part, too, is they've been losing to Michigan for the past couple of years. And when that happens up there, coupled with maybe not getting to the level of national championship, then that starts to really feed the beast up there. And those people are crazy.
I'm sure.
And I love Ohio State people. I lived up there, but they're crazy. And they live, eat, and breathe it because they don't have a professional team in Columbus football.
I mean, they got the Browns.
But they're split. Exactly. I see what you're doing there, but they don't consider that.
It's the Alabama of the North.
It is. They don't consider the Browns a pro team. The Buckeyes are the pro team. So that's bubbling up there. If you don't get it done or at least get to the national championship this year with that talent, I think he's gone.
The defense should be excellent. Jim Knowles on the defensive side. The number 2 defense in college football when you look at opponent-adjusted metrics from Pick 6 previews. 8 full-time starters are back, coupled with Caleb Downs, who is one of the best 2 or 3 players of the entire transfer portal. Ohio State last year couldn't run the football. That was their issue. They had a good, not great quarterback, and they couldn't run the football. This was the fewest amount of rushing yards, guys, for an Ohio State team since 2004.
That's wild, because they've been known for some backs.
That didn't work. So you've got, obviously, Travion Henderson returning, and then you add Quinshon Judkins from Ole Miss, who, by the way, if anybody's played EA College Football 25 against Quinshon Judkins, that guy is the best player on that video game.
He's dynamic.
Other than maybe Ollie Gordon at Oklahoma State,
yeah,
who is, those 2 guys are kind of the best 2 running backs in the country coming into the season. But it's going to be really interesting. I think if that offensive line and that run game can take a step, and you couple that with Kansas State quarterback Will Howard, Ohio State should at least be in the national championship game. I don't know if they're my pick to win it all, but I think they're in the final game of the season. It's crazy, guys. They could play Oregon 3 times this year.
That's what I heard.
That is not that far out of the possibility.
And Oregon's got a nice roster, too.
Oregon also
Yes.
is going to be a popular national championship pick with the talent they have coming back on offense, with Dylan Gabriel, with an up-and-coming coordinator. They are going to be very fun this year.
And I got my Michigan folks texting me right now, loving that we're talking about Ohio
Of
State's
course they are.
downfall, which is
course.
insane.
On the same day, the Connor
Yeah.
Stallions documentary comes out today.
Yeah.
No.
I went to go watch it and I didn't know it was just a preview and I kept redoing it. I'm like, when is this going to start? Why is it played? It's just a little clip. I'm like, dang it, you got me.
I don't expect to learn anything from that.
But Ohio State's they're poised and set up to win big at this point. It comes down to coaching at this point. The talent is there. They're
They
feeling.
got Chip Kelly now
Last year they got Chip Kelly
as offensive coordinator. Yeah.
And look at this. When you look at Ohio State in the draft, you mentioned the draft earlier, right? Ohio State, I don't think, had no first round O-line or D-line.
Wild.
O-line, they're known each and every year, so they got to have a monstrous roster this year.
615-737-1045. The Titans made 9 cuts yesterday as cut day hits today. We'll give you the headlines coming up next. What's going on? It's Will Bowling. To all my facility managers out there, how are your plumbing fixtures doing? Do you have any clogs in a sink or two? Maybe there is an annoying leak. You've got inconsistent hot water when you need it the most. All problems and issues you're maybe putting off just a little bit. Well, hey, this is your sign to take care of it with Lee Company, because no matter your plumbing problem, the team at Lee Company is here to help. For over 80 years, their expert technicians have been here to help make your life easier and keep your place of business running efficiently. Available 24/7, 365. You got to call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or contact them online at leecompany.com. 80 years, expert technicians, sound advice, open 24/7, 365. Lee Company, here to help the moment anything goes wrong, whether you're a facility manager, homeowner, anything in between. 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company. All you need.
What's going on? 7 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Titans sending quarterback Malik Willis to the Packers yesterday in exchange for a 2025 7th-round pick. Willis a likely backup to Jordan Love, leaving the Titans with Will Levis and Mason Rudolph in the quarterback room. That was one of many cuts or trades the Titans will need to make today before 3 p.m. to get their initial 53-man roster. You can stay right here on 104.5 The Zone to stay up to date on any of those roster cut-down transactions. But a couple notable players that were cut yesterday. Bucs cut wide receiver Sterling Shepard. The Lions did the same with wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones. The Vikings cut bait with quarterback Matt Corral. And the 49ers released running back Matt Breida. And the other big deal that got done yesterday, Cowboys and All-Pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb reaching an agreement on a record 4-year, $136 million deal, making him the second highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL. The deal includes $38 million signing bonus and $100 million guaranteed. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. kicking off a brand new morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW is live on your radios and on your smart devices. Stream it live on video on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Please.
You go to the comment section there. You join the discussion. You are officially in the F&M Bank chat as well on your favorite podcast platform as soon as the show concludes. If you like us, you should be subscribed to our podcast. It helps us, and it helps you. If you don't like the show, then keep your thoughts to yourself and don't give us a rating.
Yeah.
If you like the show, well, we'd love to receive 5 stars from you. 615-737-1045 is our number. The Titans have got to be down to the 53 or less. Got to be down to 53, though, by 3 p.m. Central today. Cut day started yesterday. JoJo Doman and Trayshawn Harrison were waived with injury designations, in addition to Sam Schnee, Steven Stylianos, Mikel Jones, Thomas Rush, Tay Gowan, Brian Dooley, and Ty Zentner. Cut day.
Yeah.
Finally here.
Tay Gowan, I thought, had a good start to training camp, man. It just kind of fizzled off, I felt like, over the course of this thing, man. It's always like that. That's why training camp is a marathon, man, to be able to race and perform every single day. That's why I always tell people, like, the physicality of the game, you inherit that. I mean, this is what we're doing. Can you perform day in and day out, man? And now we're at the end of this road for these guys, and I wonder how many of those dudes would go back and say to themselves, man, if I had a boy, I wish, or, you know what I'm saying? Like those type of moments right there. And there's no real answer at the end of the day. It's, man, hopefully somebody else pick you up. That's today's a rough day for a lot of dudes.
Yeah, and we'll know the full list by 3 p.m. But yeah, we mentioned during the break, they'll start trickling out in the next few hours or so. No surprise by this first wave of them, though. No pun intended. I think the only guy on here that we talked a little bit about too during preseason games, and we saw him a little bit during camp. I think it's Sam Schnee is how we pronounce it.
Schnee, yes.
He did a couple things here and then. I think at the beginning we talked about Stylianos, the Steven Stylianos, the tight end out of Iowa.
Correct.
That was a name that we kind of mentioned. But again, no surprises here by the first wave. I think today there could be a couple on there, guys, when it comes to names we've been used to here that could be on their way out of Tennessee.
Interesting. Bill Barnwell of ESPN.com has 23 possible trades and trade candidates who could change teams before the roster cut deadline. There are 2 Tennessee Titans on this list that he thinks could be trade candidates. One of them more realistic than the other. One of them is Treylon Burks. Titans are not trading Treylon Burks today.
No.
I do not think that is going to happen.
I don't
Me
see that
either.
one.
Second one is Caleb Farley.
Well,
As a trade candidate,
Mm-hmm.
if they can get something out of him.
I mean,
Right?
it would be amazing if you could get
Another
somebody to
seventh-rounder?
take another pick on a player like him, man. Just on the basis that the injuries probably needs. He's had a lot go on his whole career. Screw the last couple of years. His whole career has had a lot, and just staying on the field. The biggest thing that he did for himself was knock that guy's helmet off on
Right.
Sunday. And to me, I think as far as him getting on the field, Caleb Farley, it comes down to him being a special team king. Like Darius Hayward-Bay yourself. Yes, you are a first-round draft pick. If you don't turn into a special teams king, there's no other way I can see him making going on the field unless he goes to another team and there's an injury. He steps up and plays miraculously well. He has to show that he's capable of handling physicality, understanding and delivering assignments is the things that he has, and health. Ain't no other word. Health is all that matters to a guy like Caleb Farley, man. It sucks because a lot of guys come into all leagues or go to college and are ballers. But that injury bug, man, just happened and just gets you, and it never lets go. And that's one of his main things going on right now. He was so intense on the sideline this past Sunday, too. After he hit that dude, man, I don't think he took his helmet off. He was just pacing like a pit bull on the corner over there, man. I was like, God,
It had to have
bro.
felt good.
Like, calm down.
But he
couldn't.
hasn't done that in so long, right? He
not
hasn't
a hit
felt
like that. Not a hit like that at
Yeah.
all. I don't think we've ever seen him hit anybody like
Right.
that.
I mean, he played in limited games here in Nashville during his career here because
Good
of,
for him.
like we said, those injuries and stuff. And there's always a chance. We talk about this all the time. He's a first-round pick. And there's always a chance that there is somebody out there with an NFL team that still sees something in him despite the injuries. He left at least something on the field to end the preseason where it could give one team a little bit of a light goes off. Maybe we could figure out, we'll start him on special teams. We'll put him on, but maybe he could help our team. And it takes that one person. I don't think it'll be a trade, but I think someone will pick him up.
If he's got, yeah.
Any chance the Titans keep him?
Sure. On the practice squad?
On the 53?
Oh,
How much does it hurt to keep him?
I don't think so because of all the other.
I can see a chance.
Really?
I can. I don't think that we had him on our 53 yesterday. I can see a chance if he. Yes, there's a chance. That's all I give it.
I just think there's too many other things. Now we've got injuries where you got to maybe go look for a linebacker. There's just not enough spots, I think, for him to contribute more than just a special team spot.
Caleb Farley, you get him for one more year. You've already paid out most of his.
Right.
It's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't save any money by releasing it.
No.
You
There's
have
always a chance.
You have a $4.2 million dead amount if you let him go.
Let's
And if
just
you
say I
trade
would be
him-
mad.
If you trade him, you save $2.5 million.
I wouldn't be mad if they kept him.
You got to have a trade partner for that one. You keep him. And I'll forget if we had him on our roster yesterday. We didn't even mention him yesterday.
No, we did not.
We did not have him on a roster.
We did not have him on our roster. It hurts nothing to keep him. If he can deliver what he did yesterday, I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, and of course, losing a special teams guy like Chance Campbell may have just opened up the door even more for him. I'd almost expect, do you just straight out cut him based on the fact that he's been more of a conversation in the locker room than the actual conversation on the field. And that's to, again, bad fortune of his in life. That sucks with all that has happened to him. But if he can stay healthy now for a special teams role, keep him.
And that's the thing, though. Can he stay healthy now? I mean, it's like how many games can he stay healthy for before he's back dealing with a hamstring or something with that back? Like, it takes me back to what he told us in the locker room. I think it was the beginning of last year. When he said pinched nerve to me, I was like, that is never. That was never a good thing that you could, you think long-term, just the effects that those things can have when it comes to your back and other parts of the body it affects. So it's just hard to gamble on that, right? No matter how solid of a dude he is and the adversity he's been through.
Our new teammate, Zach Lyons, is in our YouTube chat and says, I remember a team traded a 5th-round pick for Dennis Daly 2 years ago. Anything can happen. It's 100% right.
Double D, baby.
Especially when you're a first-round pick, somebody will take a chance on you until there is just no chance that you can, want to play football. anymore.
Right.
As long as Caleb Farley wants to play football, somebody will keep him around. I mean, heck, Shane Ray went 6 years between getting NFL opportunities, and he was just on the Titans preseason squad.
Yeah, and Caleb, give him credit. He keeps getting out there. I mean, stuff happens to him. Things happen off the field, on the field. He gets out there. I don't know when it's all said and done what his career will be, you guys, but I'll always remember him for the adversity he's fought through. Nothing like that I've seen in an athlete in that short amount of time. Pretty
one
incredible.
Tweet we got from Stefano on Twitter says, calling it now, David Martin Robinson will be tight end 1 by week 6.
No.
Can we just have a good undrafted player without having to make them the starter?
Yeah, no, we can't. Okay, no, we cannot.
He's going to be the leading
DMR
receiver.
is the leading receiver for him. You ain't wrong.
Hey, dreams can come true.
That is, I mean, more power to you. If it ends up happening, we'll come back and praise you for what you said on August 27th. But I just,
oh, goodness.
I mean, you can have good undrafted guys who are surprises, but that doesn't mean they have to be starters year one.
I mean,
They could just be good undrafted players.
What if he's just that good, man?
I would love for him to be
you
that
get
good.
a high value for a guy that's an undrafted.
But why are we calling,
Love it.
maybe by year 5? I don't.
Keep it spicy, Stefano.
Yeah.
Oh, is that? I was going
That's
to say, is that your brother?
That's anti-Italian discrimination.
No,
It's one of the many ways that people misspell your name in the FN and Bank chat.
I know.
100%. Keep it spicy, Stefano. I'm here for this, man.
Have you ever met a Ramon with an E on the end of it?
I have. I played with one.
Sure.
Did you?
Ramon Johnson from Chicago.
Ramone.
There you go.
Yep. Ramon Johnson. Sure did.
It's just amazing the amount of people that spell your name with an E on.
A four-star.
Or my name with an extra I.
Yeah.
My name is not Boiling.
Or my name with a
712.
Kyla. That is Kyla, not Caleb.
I haven't seen
That's
that
what I'm
one.
talking
Oh, I
Kyla.
get it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, Shafe made fun of you for that
I
one.
hate that
Kyla.
name. No
Yeah.
offense, guys, but I don't like it.
There you go.
Well, come on, Kyle.
Hate's a
Don't be
strong
that
word.
way.
I
See, and
dislike
now
it.
Kyle from Springfield's in the chat. There you
I
go.
know. And he says, surprise of the day, Nick Folt will be cut. Kyle from Springfield.
He's saying he's calling that. He's not saying that happened.
That's what he's saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
calling it a surprise of the
right.
day.
You made it sound like that had happened. I was like, wait, did I miss something?
No, sorry. I phrased that wrong. Phrasing.
Ramon, Kyla, and Boiling, 6 to 10 a.m.
That's what I'm talking about.
Be
I'm here
good.
for it.
Don't do
I'm here
that.
for
You
that.
can't say his name after the word he said on the Buck Rising show.
Oh,
D good.
did he do bad?
Oh, yeah.
Do bad? Did he do
yeah,
bad?
nah, he did real bad.
A word that is not safe for rare.
Yeah, I was
On the
actually
Buck
listening
Rising
on the
show.
radio, but apparently the chat heard it.
615-737-1045 is our number. The big story from yesterday, Chance Campbell, done for the year again. Where do the Titans go next at inside linebacker? And how concerned are you about a very important position in this defense? We'll dive into that next. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW on 104.5 The Zone and streaming live on Zone TV. Download the 104.5 The Zone app. Take us wherever you go in Middle Tennessee and around the world. That is where you hear Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, myself, Will Bowling, and your thoughts at 615-737-1045. Guys, do the Titans have an inside linebacker problem?
Yes.
Slightly. Just slightly. As far as depth and figuring out what's next, yeah, slightly. They do.
Yes.
Brian Callahan spoke yesterday, first updating some of the worst news of training camp with this update on Chance Campbell.
The MRI came back on Chance, and we'll lose him for the year with an ACL, so he's out. So we've taken two pretty significant hits at the linebacker spot with Wallow and Chance, and then obviously Marlon with his bicep, we've lost him. So that's kind of where we're at. This only new news from the injury front is that one.
Ugh.
So that was first up on Chance Campbell, and then more notes as well from Brian Callahan on Otis Reese, Luke Gifford, and Cedric Gray.
Yeah, those guys are both in the protocol, so we should hopefully get them back this week. As is kind of tentative. We don't have much to do with that. It's more they got to get cleared independently. So, but those guys are both should be cleared next week and should be good to go.
How about Cedric Gray?
Cedric's still dealing with the same thing he's had. It's a shoulder, but it's nerve related. So it's more of a when does it come back and how does it feel? So, no real timeline on him at this point. Unsure is the best way to put it.
Don't like that. Nerve?
Not like that at all. Nerve is one of those things, man, is just have to, if it's inflamed, which is what happens when you have nerve issues, and it's got to go back down as much as you possibly can, give it rest to get back to normal, because the thing about having a nerve issue is just like we see guys have stingers and stuff like that. Guys have stinger issues all throughout the year because they continue to go out there and hit, and however way your neck is being hit or shoulder being hit or that area, it continues to keep it inflamed. And the best way to do that is either to restrict movement in that area. That's why you see guys with those cowboy collars and stuff like that on when it comes down to that type of nerve issue. Or I don't know where his is coming from, whether it's actually shoulder, arm, neck, or wherever the case may be.
The injury was shoulder, but we don't know where the nerve part of it is, right?
Yeah, for sure. So sucks for him in his rookie year for a guy that we thought was going to be the green dot and is going to have a big role and everything. And I think he's a capable player. It's just that you can't prove anything if you can't be on the field.
Daggone Dr. Moan, man. I'm not going to urgent care anymore.
Dr. Moan.
You know why I know that one? Because if you look at some of my other, in college and in NFL, I wore a cowboy collar, and dudes like, Moan, you are huge, man. You shouldn't put that I'm like, hey, but I had to because and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, my neck is, neck is strong, and thick. Like, I always worked on it, but you get hit a certain way, and then you get hit again in that same area, and head moving stuff. There's nothing you can do about stingers. Like, stingers break guys down, and I'm not sure if that's what his issue is as far as a nerve thing, but considering he plays linebacker, he has to hit 300-pound linemen, and he's not practicing because of a nerve. I'm only assuming, but it may be something related to that if it's around his shoulder.
How come guards don't wear those neck rolls anymore? I think that's the baddest, assest looking way an offensive lineman can come out is with one of them neck rolls on.
It restricts you so much, especially if you actually wearing it for a purpose. Like, some of those McDavid collars stick straight up. You can have the rounded ones that go around your neck, and there's also like the bull horn that goes around on the inside of it. It restricts you, man. You ever...
I would say,
wear a neck brace and drive is what I tell you.
Can I give an example? Although we wouldn't know this, but we've seen it with our pets. When you get them spayed and neutered, it's like when they have those big round things around
the cone.
Yeah, I feel like it would be like that, like restricting, where it's not very comfortable.
It ain't, but
it
gets the job done.
I don't know. Look good, play good, man. If you see somebody line up, be like, nah, take me out, coach.
The Georgia Tech inside linebacker with the covered up cowboy collar the other day and like the war paint. That's
so
a football
badass.
player. That's before America went soft. Everybody was looking like that.
Can I add something real quick?
No, you cannot.
On that. Well, I'm going to anyways. Dang it!
Just jump in.
I almost said something else.
I wish
the
you
dam
had it.
almost broke there.
That'd have made it so much better to the radio, right? Yes.
I'd be like D-Good.
Say the other thing.
I'd be off the air for a second.
No doubt.
So on the Cedric Gray line, too, we had said yesterday, and I know that this is not what Brian Callahan said in the presser yesterday, but I do think at this point, too, now that we're talking about depth, I would probably imagine he does start on the IR, which would at least be, for 4 games you would be out to start the season, which, would give him enough time. Like you were saying, Ramon, with that type of injury, you just don't know. You need more time to heal. In terms of Chance Campbell, is there such thing, Ramon, as just like crap luck in the NFL with certain players? Because I feel like Chance Campbell was handed a load of crap, or just a pile of crap, when he entered the NFL. Rookie season, knee injury, took him out his whole rookie season, part of the next season. And then he starts off, has a great campaign this year, and then in the last preseason game, he does it to his knee again.
It's his third knee injury.
Crazy. Third.
He had a knee injury last year, too.
Okay, so 3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild.
It's football. That's why adding that 17th game is also a part of it. Like the risk of injury, more opportunities to get injured. Guys that have had crap starts to their careers, RG3 is another one. Hell, my brother Renardo Foster had a bad luck of his. First it was a back, then it was the ACL, then it was the other ACL. Like that type of stuff happens, and you know what you say is, man, the train keeps rolling. Like I feel bad for Chance Campbell and all things that's happened to him so far, but I know tons of guys that have had these similar situations happen to him too. Bert's guy, Dree Archer, another one of those dudes that's had injuries like that happen. I'm just throwing guys out there that's had bad starts to their careers.
Well, Farley.
Caleb Farley is another one. No, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just how your pathway and trusting what God has for you is for you. So it sucks for him. I mean, doesn't put the team in a really good situation, but this is the price of doing business when you play a very physical game. Chance's his injury yesterday, I couldn't tell if he. It was weird watching it. Did y'all see the replay of it on TV? Well, I was sneaking around and looking at the injury monitor on the sideline. It looked like he got caught in the air, and when he fell down, he hit his neck, shoulder, and it looked like the guy pile drived into his knee. And I'm not sure if that's where it snapped or if he got clipped from the side. Like the clip was Chance is in the air, falls on his back, shoulder, head, and the guy pile drives down. And I think that's why he was so upset, because I was already going to the ground. There was no need for you to, and he fell directly on his knee. So I'm not sure if his knee compressed and popped or if some traumatic hit to the side did it too. It was a weird play. It was unnecessary.
And he did walk off, right?
Yeah, the adrenaline's still rolling.
Yeah, because you because you can do that sometimes with those ACLs. Yeah.
100%. My thoughts on the Titans inside linebacker position are this. Yeah.
Houston, we have a problem.
That's about where I am.
We do.
Otis Reese, by the way, this guy has like barely any game experience in the NFL. So I don't know if he's coming back, like Brian Callahan said, the concussion thing. I don't feel comfortable with him in the third spot, and Luke Gifford is a special teams player. So I don't feel comfortable with him either.
Both of those guys coming back from concussions, Otis Reese and Luke Gifford, as Brian Callahan said yesterday. James Williams, next man up.
Yeah,
and he's still developing into that linebacker spot, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. Time's up. Step up when the time is needed. But the reality is he is a rookie converting to a linebacker from a safety. He is still learning. So that's a tough spot to be in.
It is a tough spot to be in, but here's always the thing. Stars and starters are born every year in this league. And I'll say this. I've seen where we lost in Pittsburgh a very high caliber playmaker in Ron Shazier, and the scramble to find 3 guys to do the job of one was challenging, but they got the job done.
Sure.
That's what you have to look at for a guy like James Williams. So if he's out there and you don't have Kenneth Murray for a weekend, young fella, you're no longer a rookie anymore. That's the conversation. Now, is there going to be some growing pains? But yes, but how else does a guy become a starter in this league if he doesn't have a few mess ups? You know, and it sucks to categorize it like that and just say, hey, yeah, we're going to roll the dice and throw a young guy or inexperienced guy out there. But here's the thing about it. If you trust your coaches and you also trust the player, has there been anything egregious that we've seen James Williams do that makes us believe that he's not capable of playing?
I loved his attitude of trying to be that guy as soon as he can. He's showed us none of that hesitation.
It's just that often we always find ourselves asking this question, well, what are we going to do? Well, damn it, we just going to have to play the guys that we have is also a part of it, too.
James Williams had a 37 PFF grade. on Sunday in New Orleans.
37 PFF grade.
Out of 100.
What I also saw him do was blitz the quarterback in a very professional way, and
Sure,
I think that's
of
what
course.
you're going to ask of a guy like him. Even at the 37, this is always what I do. What stood out that made his grade so low?
He made 2 tackles. He missed 14% of his tackles, which compares to 33% of his tackle attempts against the Seahawks in week 2. And there were 5 receptions for 30 yards on 5 targets credited against James Williams. So it was run defense. He was specifically a 26.5 grade, and coverage grade was 49. So there were 5 catches on 5 targets against him, according to Pro Football Focus. Again, it's PFF. It's used as a secondary source, but it is one way to evaluate his final preseason game.
Sure. And again, he is still learning that position. And so it's not going to, happen overnight. But what they have said about him, at least, has been positive in terms of his development up to this point. Still got to continue.
My positivity from that is he had a higher coverage score than he did run stop.
Right?
And again, I give you that information so you can draw your own conclusions. PFF is not gospel.
Right, but it's good to know.
Nobody in NFL facilities is saying, oh, this guy got a 27 from PFF. He must have been bad.
Right.
It's just one way to view the entire evaluation process. Because on the other side of it, against San Fran in the first preseason game, he had an 82 PFF grade.
Okay.
So again, he's a rookie. There are good moments. There are bad moments. I do think the Titans might be shopping for another inside linebacker. Just from the numbers perspective, you're going to have to.
I agree.
You have to. And because of that, though, I mean, that you can take that very personal if you're dudes inside of the building. Otis Reese, James Williams, why y'all going outside looking for somebody else when I'm right here? That would be my mindset as it pertains to filling that position. But again, we need to just hope and pray that Kenneth Murray and Jack Gibbons stay as healthy as can possibly be.
In the F&M Bang chat on YouTube, Justin writes in and says, I'm going to go against the 17-game comment Roman said. I don't think the number of games matters. He got hurt before the first game. You can get hurt anytime.
My point is there's more opportunities for guys to get hurt in games. Now, again, you're right. It's a lot of guys that play a full 17, and it does not matter on, injuries to certain dudes. But let me just tell you this, as it pertains to us doing the CBA and talking through the ifs and buts and candies and nuts, as Coach Mack like to say, the addition of one more week of live action means there is a high probability that there are allowed more injuries in those contests. 16 games versus 17 games. There's also one more game as it pertains to a guy getting his pension, too. We're talking about what does it take to be a vested veteran in this league. It's 3 years and 3 games. Think about adding another game to the opportunity. By the time you get to year 3, you've already played your 3+ games that you needed because of the 17th game. I'm just telling you guys the conversation that we had as it pertains to the CBA. That, to me, again, you have your opinion, and I'll let you have that one, but it's wrong.
Come on, Roman.
You want me to?
On
this one, you're not going to tell me what I don't know.
No, I agree.
Okay?
I'm on your side.
You're okay
Roman.
to say that? Yeah, Big Roman is what they're going to
I
call me after
disagree with
this
Ramon,
one.
but I agree with Roman.
Yeah,
absolutely
not. No, you're wrong to have that thought, but
Wrong with an E.
Cook on, King.
I think it's also worth noting that they're in trouble if there is another injury, right? They're good enough right now to start the season because Jamal Adams also provides flexibility where, say, Jack Gibbons goes down or Kenneth Murray goes down. You can pull one of the linebackers off the field and play dime with Jamal Adams. So they have the flexibility to play multiple fronts, at least at the beginning of the season. They don't have to figure this out right now, but it is a pressing issue.
It is.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one.
Well, James Williams is definitely making this team.
Yeah. Now it's
if there was any doubt, which I don't think there was much
none now.
Doubt about that, there'll be a lot of people talking about Ernest Jones, the LA Rams inside linebacker. The initial report was that he had requested a trade. Then he tweeted back in response that he didn't. Sean McVay, talking to the media, did confirm that he never requested a trade. However, the Rams have had communication with his representation and, quote, there's been some dialogues with teams, and that's kind of where it's at. I just don't get the sense that the Titans are in the business of giving up any more draft picks.
They're not.
I think they did that with L'Jarius Sneed, and now because they did the Sneed trade and already gave up a third, they're not going to double dip and go back into the draft pile that's already very small in order to get an inside linebacker. I think they're going to make it work with the guys they've got.
Yeah, as much as you'd like to fix that problem instantly, like with a piece like that. Rand has come on our show. Chad Brinker has come on our show and expressed the need for future draft picks, and that starts this next year. They just got a 6th pick in terms of overall with the Malik Willis trade. They're not going to go backwards.
No, you can't go backwards. It's accumulating right now.
It's also worth noting that if they did trade for Ernest Jones, that they would have to pay him following this year. So it would be a 1-year rental, and if you couldn't get a deal done, you just got to play with the dude for 1 year.
Right. What does a role for James Williams possibly look like?
On the defensive side of things?
On this defense, is there a gadget, hey, do this one thing really well this year job for him? Is that on third downs? Is that in obvious passing situations? Is that in red zone? Like, what does his skill set mean he could do for this team right away?
12 personnel stopping the run.
Okay.
Straight downfield. If it's 3rd and 1, being able to blitz the quarterback and get home, you need to see just little sprinkles of just excitement in his play. If he needs to get through the line of scrimmage, get through on 3rd and 1. If it's run stopping, get through. If there's a situation where a team sets him up and throw to the flats, can you get there? Because we know you got the speed to do it. Can you get there and make that tackle on those plays? To me, he is playing in the box and being able to go sideline to sideline and stuff the hole as far as his job as a rookie. He should not have a thinking job this year for the most part. It should be see and get is what you want
and
out
I
of
think
him.
you got to get special teams value out of him this year. Absolutely. Like that's where it starts for this guy. And then you continue to develop him in what can hopefully be that linebacker position, like you're saying, Ramon.
Yeah. And
hopefully that role grows. But you've got to get that special teams value out of him too this year.
Yeah, I think honestly too, I wouldn't mind him. He's been a violent pass rusher in obvious passing downs where he can blitz from that inside linebacker position. He's so quick. I mean, he's a freaking pterodactyl.
And he's long. His arms are super long.
A pterodactyl, right.
Yeah.
So for me, like putting him in passing downs where you've got the multiplicity of, hey, this is a guy that can blitz or cover in the middle of the field. You're asking him to think quite a bit more to cover the middle of the field. But I think ultimately he would be a great big nickel Swiss Army knife to the extent of a Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah or a, Isaiah Simmons type almost. That's a really high bar, obviously, but I don't think that's far away from what he could be to whatever extent, he succeeds in that role remains to be seen. But I don't know.
The one thing I'm hype about him is this. He's not afraid of the physicality they've asked him to have.
No, he's very violent.
No.
Yeah. He's not. I think I'm hoping his biggest play comes on a special teams fumble play.
Yeah.
To where he see ball, get ball, strip fumble on that dynamic, as they're calling the kickoff return.
He definitely put on some weight too during this.
He looks good
this offseason.
He looks good as a
during
linebacker.
camp.
Does.
Coming up, what an NFL headline means for the Titans. A big deal for one player in the NFC, and how it makes the Titans look a little bit better for a move they made that was well documented this offseason. We got that for you next. Wrapping up the first half of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW, kicking off your Tuesday morning. In a half hour, Austin Price of VolQuest. And at 9:20, Ron Slay of 3HL. And, of course, of SEC Network. So the Dallas Cowboys yesterday paid CeeDee Lamb, ending his whole out, agreeing to a 4-year, $136 million deal. He is the second highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. $38 million signing bonus, more than what Justin Jefferson got. However, Jefferson still tops the market at $35 million a season. A.J. Brown at $32 million a year. And then you got Amon-Ra St. Brown at 30, Tyreek Hill at 30 as well. Or I should say Amon-Ra at 30.003. So he could be higher than Tyreek Hill. The Calvin Ridley deal looks better every week. So Calvin Ridley now with the Titans is the 16th highest paid receiver in the NFL, according to average annual value. And when Jamar Chase and Brandon Ayuk get paid, Calvin Ridley might start the season, or at least most of the season, as the 18th highest paid receiver in the league. It's probably about right. It's honestly a little bit of a bargain, considering I think he might be a top 15 to 20 wide receiver in this league when he's healthy and at his best.
And then you think Brandon Ayuk hadn't even got paid yet.
Or Jamar.
That's what I just said, both of those things.
You did? I wasn't listening.
He's enjoying his almonds.
Just said. And then once Jamar Chase and Brandon Ayuk get paid, it'll move him to 18. Is it awesome?
Well, you guys didn't even think about the fact that Brandon Ayuk hadn't been paid yet.
Yeah, and did we mention Jamar Chase?
Well, and Amon-Ra St. Brown at $30.003 million. You know, got that a little bit more than Tyreek Hill.
I'll say this. I'll say this also,
since you weren't listening.
When it goes to when it goes to Calvin Ridley, also Will still shakes his head right there. I don't want this difference in pay to minimize what we think Calvin Ridley's role should be either. That's what I don't. Yes. He's 1A, however this is going to work out this year. You paid a premium for a guy that's supposed to deliver the goods too. And that, I'm not saying this is a him thing. I'm speaking from the expectations from a fan's perspective, and then for the folks that cover him, and as far as team is concerned too. He's supposed to be the guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing that turn into something bigger than what his pay may suggest. Like he's also a guy coming off a suspension that got that type of payday too. So deliver the goods still is what I expect. The level of operating should still be high. I don't care if he's $10 million behind the next guy as far as his pay scale goes. No, the ability to deliver needs to still be held high here in Nashville for him.
So some moves this morning. Jags have released Trey Flowers.
Yep.
The Bills, just a moment ago, released 15-year vet Kareem Jackson. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't understand that one, but yeah, good on him, man. Also, Jerome Carvin got let go in Chicago too.
Jakob Johnson as well in New York, fullback.
Yeah,
German fullback who's a vested veteran at this point.
Is he?
Yeah,
play for the Saints too.
Jakob was a Patriot predominantly.
Okay.
I don't know. He may have been a Saint for a minute.
Okay.
I found the Lord.
I didn't even know who
was a Saint.
I didn't know who Jakob was, man.
Jakob Johnson? He was there when I was there.
Knock him.
He was recruited out of Germany by Butch Jones.
I had no idea, bro.
He was a middle linebacker at Tennessee, moved to fullback. He's actually had a pretty good career for a guy that played the other side of the ball in college. He moved to fullback in the NFL.
Yeah, the Patriots had him for a minute because they got to use that international player pathway for him.
Okay.
Yep.
Good for him. Go Vols.
Jeremy in Nashville, 615-737-1045. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, good morning, guys. I was going to call in about something else I wanted to add to a question, really. Where does D-Hop sit on that list as far as high-paid receivers in the league?
Not close to the top.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, it sounds like to me they got a bargain between him and Ridley because, we've seen what Ridley was capable of doing at Alabama, and then, he got derailed with that whole suspension thing. So that man should have some tread left on the tires. So he's got definitely an opportunity to produce here in Nashville if him and Levis can get on the same track. But I believe that you guys were talking about it the other day. Didn't Calvin Ridley come on more so toward the end of the season last year?
Yeah.
So, if him and D-Hop can get on the same page, then, this might be a tandem wide receiver group that that the league's just kind of overlooking. But I had a question for you, Ramon. As far as this whole CBA thing goes and adding a new game, do you think that it'd ever be possible that they might include the amount of preseason games towards that whole vested concept, because they are asking a lot of the players, and it seems like the league doesn't want to come off with any more compensation than what they're trying to keep from them. So, do you think that would possibly be something that they would ever try to restructure the concept of what is actually a vested time spent on the field, maybe even amount of snaps played, during preseasons or whatever the case may be? But I'll hang up and listen to what you guys got to say.
Yeah. Jeremy?
I doubt that ever happens because it's not full regular season games. Like, you get paid for being on staff, and that right there is not a part of being on staff. It is the preseason. This is before the season starts, and it's also they can't do that because the money to actually pay out contracts aren't there either, because there's not enough people watching. That the ads, I'm sure, are way lower in preseason games. So because of that, the money to pay or make guys vested over 3 games in a preseason, or if it goes to 18 and 2 games in a preseason, just not enough. Plus, the numbers are way higher, so there's always going to be a pushback. I think it's a great idea to somewhat consider that, but there's no pathway to seeing games that don't count as far as win-losses actually give guys credit in the preseason.
It's I think a good reminder again to people as well that there will be veterans who get quote unquote released today who you expect to make rosters because of that vested veteran rule.
Yeah.
And they're probably on this roster. There will be someone who doesn't make this team who I think all of us are assuming is going to be on the team, because then you pick that guy up in week 2. Teams are so focused, I think more so than shopping elsewhere when the first cuts happen. They're more focused on keeping their own guys. Rand Carthon has talked about that. The Titans have spoken about, it's less of the drop of a hat. All right, let's go claim, the Packers left guard that they just released. We want him immediately. That takes time. That is a process. So it will be interesting whether or not the Titans leave a spot open to be able to shop a little bit. But typically your 53-man roster that's closer to what you will actually be for the season is your week 2 roster, because of the vested veteran rule, where it's 3 years of service time and 3 games, Ramon?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It is 3 games. 3 years, 3 games.
Then you get a fully guaranteed contract with the team that puts you on their initial 53-man roster. This is not a final 53. It is the initial 53.
Sure.
So just a little bit of gymnastics that teams do.
We talked about possibly being Nick Vannett, that they could do
Wouldn't
that.
shock me.
Yeah, he could be a candidate for that.
Because he's a vested veteran.
Would not shock me. 615-737-1045. Your thoughts on NFL Cut Day, on the Titans, and Brian Callahan's thoughts evaluating Will Levis and turning their attention to the Bears. Some interesting things from his press conference yesterday that we will play for you next.
What's going on? 8 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Yesterday, Titans sending quarterback Malik Willis to the Packers in exchange for a 2025 seventh-round pick. Willis, the likely backup to Jordan Love, leaving the Titans with just Will Levis and Mason Rudolph in the quarterback room. That was one of many cuts or trades the Titans will need to make before 3 p.m. today to get down to their initial 53-man roster. You can keep it tuned right here to 104.5 The Zone to stay up to date on any roster cut-down transaction. Some of the bigger cuts that have happened yesterday and today: Lions releasing wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones. The Ravens doing something similar with wide receiver Russell Gage. The Vikings cutting ties with quarterback Matt Corral. And the 49ers releasing running back Matt Breida. The big contract that got done yesterday, the Cowboys and all-pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb reaching an agreement on a record 4-year, $136 million deal, making him the second highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Deal includes $38 million as a signing bonus and $100 million guaranteed. The signing bonus, the largest ever given to a wide receiver. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show and hour number 3 getting started on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. RKW on 104.5 The Zone. Coming up in 15 minutes, our first game week conversation with VolQuest's Austin Price. He had an exclusive one-on-one interview with Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel that is up on VolQuest.com today. A great conversation on their YouTube page, on VolQuest.com, and worth the price of a subscription at the very least to VolQuest and On 3. We'll get the latest out of Knoxville coming up in 15 minutes. Your thoughts to the F&M Bank chat on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Please.
And potentially might have some Vols tickets to give away later today.
No, you
Ooh, for this
Who's to
weekend's
say?
game?
That's correct.
Can I call in?
Tennessee Ticket Tuesdays are back.
I don't have tickets. I need
you not?
tickets.
You were going to maybe go.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I need tickets. Okay, and I'm calling in today. What's the phone number again?
I want you to
615.
guess. Nobody help him. Don't help him. Ramon, give the station's phone number.
615-737-1045.
Yeah, thank
Look
you.
at you.
I knew you knew that.
I knew it, but I'm trying to stop people. I'm trying to confuse them enough to where they won't call in, and I get to go this week. Is what I'm telling you.
We do not have the cue to call yet, but we will let you know.
Okay.
I know we might have just psyched some people out.
And
Sorry.
then this is a game where, look, you can leave Middle Tennessee, stop at Buc-ee's on the
Right.
way up there, and come back home the same night, too.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a day trip right here is
Yeah.
what this weekend is going to be. That's a whole day trip.
We did it before when we did that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Our first pregame party
Was
over
that
there.
Florida or Bama, though?
Bama.
Bama.
It was Bama.
Big Bama. Whoa.
Yeah.
Very fun.
That was a good time.
Real fun.
Hope they can run it back this year. Brian Callahan talking to the media yesterday as we continue to reset what you missed yesterday and set the table for cut day in the NFL. Teams need to be roster compliant, 53 on the active roster by 3 o'clock Central. Brian Callahan, though, discussed a number of topics yesterday, including a final preseason evaluation of Will Levis.
But really happy with how he's played in the preseason, what he's shown, how he's managed the offense. He's moved the ball, which is the name of the game for quarterbacks, is we're trying to score points. And he's done that with his opportunities. And as I said last night, I understand that preseason records and preseason stats aren't predictive in any way, shape, or form of any future success whatsoever. But it doesn't mean nothing. There's things that we take from it that matter. And so I've been encouraged about where we're at. I think we still have a ways to go, but happy with what we've shown.
Brian Callahan, happy with what has been shown up. Ramon, how often in your career would you take confidence away from a good preseason or from a bad season? Like for your individual performances, would you go into a season thinking like, all right, I feel like I had a good preseason or bad preseason, or was it just like let's please just get done with preseason so the real football can start?
A little bit of all of that. I'll be honest with you. There's something I know I need to work on as far as, technique and training camp. The practices, I think, help a little bit more than the game does. Taking stuff away from the game, to me, is more about the operation of the offense and the defense. The guys make the plays that are coming their way. And for a team that doesn't know you, you're not familiar with, did you dominate enough? Or were you in a position where you were getting bodied in those games? And also I got to look at the circumstances of it too. Like play one this past weekend. If you're not encouraged by what Tavondre did, albeit whether it was the starters or not, like he did what you wanted him to do in those settings, right? I tweeted out a picture yesterday. I forget who it was. Maybe it was Baldinger, I think, that put out clips.
It was Brian Baldinger.
Yeah, Brian Baldinger put out clips of the Titans offensive line.
Yep.
And we watched J.C. Latham and Peter Skoronski move defenders 4 yards off the line of scrimmage before the running back even got the ball. And that, to me, Will, is a lot that I'm taking from the season.
I saw like
preseason.
4 different national NFL analysts tweeting like, holy crap, the left side of the Titans offensive line is mauling people.
Yes. So that right there, I can take that and say, I know if we got pulls coming or we need a yard, like I know the left side is going to secure this good enough to where Dylan Radins can get around the edge and we can go we can free the running back up in those situations. I believe in some of the pocket integrity, not all of it, some of it, like they had this past weekend. And also I can take from this past weekend in preseason too, watching a quarterback like Will Levis, right, be comfortable in the pocket. I don't think we've seen Will Levis stand like that comfortable. Pressure and rushers were still coming at him, and he just stood his ground and delivered passes for completions. I love that about him. And, of course, when you throw more bullets at guys in the preseason, I think last year we were watching this group. No, early this year, we were watching this group throw the ball around and spinning outside of the pocket really fast. And by the time we got to week 3, I think it settled down. So the progression of getting better from week 1 all the way into week 3, yes, I can take that. I think 3HL had Taylor Lewan on a few weeks ago. I'm like, to believe nothing. I'm like, no,
he said believe nothing out of the preseason?
Believe nothing out of the preseason. And that's his take. And that's fair for him to have that one. But I am of the mindset of saying, no, I can see this guy make plays and that pops to me off tape. I can see Tajay Spears being a dynamic runner going side to side. I can see Tony Pollard likes to hit the edge and will also hit a guy on the line of scrimmage if we need, on the out of bounds, if we need a yard or two. I can take all of that away from the preseason game and say we should be able to do these things in the regular season. Now, game planning, better players, flow of the games, the cost of winning and losing also plays a little bit more of a psychological warfare on you too, as far as coaches and players. So it is different, but I can take a good bit of this preseason and correlate it to why it's super important.
I think you take, it's a sample size, I get it, but in every drive that Will Levis led the Titans to in the preseason, they, had points. And that's something to be said, right? Because it could have been the complete opposite. And then we really are feeling uncomfortable for what they were able to do in that small sample size. You've heard Brian Callahan say the operation was good, and it was. And that's what you at least want out of your quarterback and your starters in that situation, because it is new. And you are still kind of fiddling with things. And you heard him. It's not a finished product by any means. But what we saw is at least a little bit more like, okay, you take a little bit of a breath. Because Will Levis in practice was a little bit up and down. But also incorporate into that, he was taking risks. There were certain situations you can't exactly put it all on him. But what we saw in the preseason, especially to end it, I think you at least know a little bit about Will Levis, that he's grown and that he's ready for the actual regular season.
Brian Callahan also talked yesterday about the process of going from working on yourself to looking ahead to week 1 when the Titans will travel to Chicago.
Yeah, we've kind of taken time on the Bears at various points, just kind of through training camp. It's week 1 always makes it pretty easy just because you have a lot of time and you have the off season in the summertime. And so a lot of preliminary work's been done. And then we'll get into the game plan. I'm always really mindful of this time of this weird chunk of time where you don't want to spend too much time because you overdo it and you overanalyze and it just feels like the first game takes forever to get here once you get to the spot. So just mindful on getting guys back healthy, still getting some work in, but maybe a little bit more focused just on our process. And you start the game week when you start the game week, because you already get an extra day with Monday. Monday's a bonus day on top of it. So a little bit more focus on ourselves and what we can improve over a couple of days of practice, and then we'll get back into the routine of the season. Because you spend all this time on Chicago and it's your week one, and all of a sudden week one's over, and then they start coming every 7 days. And so the rhythm is a part of it too. You want to make sure you're kind of not doing more than you need to for the first game.
Where is that balance between working on yourself and moving forward into week one prep?
It's a fine balance, because it can get stale. Like, you can see how the guys' attentions are as far as what they need to be doing. At some point in time, it's like, all right, I'm done with this. So it is a balance of, hey, today's the Titans day. We're going one-on-ones against each other, that defense against ours, and you sprinkle in, okay, third down, all right, now we're going scout period, and we need you guys to show us a car. So it's a build-up to actually getting to the point. Monday would probably be a heavy Titans' emphasis is Labor Day practice for them, and coaches will always tell you want to be laboring on Labor Day. But that means you got a job, okay, and I'm very thankful for that. But when it comes down to how you get to it, Wednesday is when the real reset gets. So I think they're off Thursday, Friday, Saturday now because the new CBA training camp's officially over. They'll get a day in probably on Wednesday this week. Monday be a bonus day to introduce, and then you go about your week, man. So it'll be regular schedule game week starting on Wednesday, and that's when real notebooks and game plans go into place, and the building get a lot quieter because you don't have 90 guys anymore.
It's different, right?
True. Not as much karaoke from guys in Speedos like in Hard Knocks.
I'll be honest with you, too. It's so much. I hate to say this. Guys lose their jobs, and I was fortunate to not ever just be booted out. But when they are out of the building, you're like, okay, all right, now we can really get
you feel
down.
like you're
you get a whole room of yourself on the team plane versus always having to have a seat buddy.
I get my bonus locker back, okay? I got all my shoes over here and my equipment. Like, it sucks to say, man, I'm glad they're gone, but it really does. It's like the movie 300. Mm-hmm. All we need is this 53 plus our practice squad. Let's get all the fluff out. Like, I don't want to be talking about or worrying about a guy that's not going to contribute on game day. And I'm very smug in saying that, but that is the reality of what happens during the regular season is, bro, we trying to win.
Bonus locker. That's crazy.
Yeah, I did have a bonus locker.
Keep your things to yourself.
I know. Some of those guys
Mason was on the other side of that.
Was he really?
Yeah, he couldn't touch my bonus
Mason
locker.
I'm going to go talk to him about that when I do my profile
He going to
on
tell you
this
about
year.
it. Yeah,
Okay.
we were very
What about
smug.
that bonus locker?
Coming up, VolQuest's Austin Price. Our first game week visit with Austin is next.
What's going on, guys? It's Ramon and Bert here with talking about Prince's, man. And football's back, and there ain't no need to worry about how you're going to feed that whole group of people, because whether it's 10 or whether it's 100, Prince's has got you covered.
Well, Bert, they can go over 1,000 if you need them to, man. And here's the thing about Prince's, too, man. Prince's is the original hot chicken, and they got classic Southern flavors without all the fuss. I'm telling you, the mac and cheese, potato salad, Bert, whatever you need. And also on the catering side, as you just mentioned a second ago, they also have vegan and vegetarian options. 5 locations around the city, man. You can get it coming into the airport or out of the airport. You can go to Assembly Food Hall. You can go to the original one in Nolensville Pike, all right? Or in Cane Ridge Parkway at Tanger Outlet. Simply get to Prince's Hot Chicken, man, or go online at princeshotchicken.com.
And with that, the glass has broken on a game week for the first time. This is Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, joined by VolQuest and On Threes, Austin Price, previewing real tackle football played in General Nealon's House of Football this weekend, Tennessee and Chattanooga. Austin, how are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you all doing?
We are great. We are glad to be in a game week talking Tennessee football. I know, first of all, Austin, you had an exclusive one-on-one with Josh Heupel. A great interview. If you've not checked this out, VolQuest.com, the VolQuest YouTube channel as well has that and everything you need getting ready for kickoff. Austin, what did you take away from that conversation and your sit down with Coach Heupel?
He's just excited for the season, likes his team a lot, and, frankly, I think much like the fans and media covering the team, ready to get to Saturday. I mean, like a lot of times, coaches kind of stay in the moment, but even then, I think he's excited just to get to Saturday and get to a football game, even if it's Chattanooga. He's ready to kind of see how his team performs when the lights come on, because how they practice and how they perform can be two different things. So I think he's wanted to see kind of how they're gelled up as they head into this year.
So, Austin, for you, what do you hope to learn? What are you most interested to watch on Saturday when Tennessee plays Chattanooga?
I think for me, it's just the operations of it all. I mean, what does the offense look like with Nico running it versus Joe? Because I think it's going to be two different things. Just how they worked, different parts of the field. Do they work the middle of the field more? I think you'll see the tight ends involved. I think, Tennessee's really deep at receiver. I guess, what does the rotation look like at receiver? What does the rotation look like at a lot of positions? So I think there's a lot to kind of be intrigued by as you head into a game that, again, Tennessee's going to win as they get ready for really the big first test, which will be next week in Charlotte.
Austin Price of VolQuest at Austin Priceless on Twitter. Austin, at the tight end position, Ethan Davis, Miles Kitselman, Holden Stays. What do you think that breakdown in terms of snaps, in terms of looks with the starters looks like on Saturday?
I don't even think they've decided who's going to be the starter. If you ask me who was going to be the starter, I would tell you it's probably going to be Miles Kitselman, outside shot of Ethan Davis. I do not think it will be Holden Stays, but I think all three are going to play. I think depending on the play call could determine who's in the game for the first play. But as far as who plays the most, I think it'll be, probably be Kitselman, Davis, and then Stays. But I think all three are going to play and play quite a bit. Tennessee's planning on rotating at that position. Again, planning and doing is two different things, but they're planning on rotating at that position more than they ever have. And so I know they love that room. They feel like that, they're as deep there as they've been since Josh Heupel has been here.
Austin Price with us, a VolQuest on 3. Austin, we've spoke so much, man, about the newcomers this year, man, as far as the skills that they have. How big of a year is it for Dylan Sampson, man, and the expectations for him as he's made a few preseason lists himself?
I think it's a big year. Obviously, in a perfect world, Dylan Sampson goes and has a monster year and is off to the NFL. But who knows how this kind of plays out, but he's not had a chance to be the guy. I mean, he did that in the bowl game, but I'm talking about for game after game after game. So what's he going to look like? How's he going to handle the load, the workload when he is the guy each and every week? Now, you have a lot of young, talented players behind him in that room. How they progress, I think, will determine, how much Tennessee truly has to lean on him. But he's got to stay healthy. And, he's been able to do that for the most part during his Tennessee career, but it's going to be different when he's, getting the most carries on the team compared to just being kind of a complement piece to Jalen Wright or Jabari Small. So, kid's got a great head on his shoulders. He's got a lot of talent. And, I'm interested to kind of see how he does as the guy.
No doubt about it. Also, this weekend, the operation of it. Now, I don't want to call UT Chat a lesser opponent, but their Chat is just what I'll say. Okay. With that being said, you expect the offense to move forward and be competitive. With this group of wide receivers, when Brew coming back into the fold, man, who do you see this weekend as a guy that can really take a step, or do you see somebody claiming the wide receiver number one role in this style of offense that the Vols play?
I mean, I don't know if there'll be a wide receiver one. I think Chris Brazzell has a chance to be someone that Nico leans on a lot, but I think he'll share the wealth quite a bit, and I think they plan on rotating. Brew talked about that when he was leaving his media availability the other day, just how taxing it was in 2022 when he, Jalen Hyatt, and then Cedric Tillman the other players kind of had to rotate in and out at that other spot when Tillman got hurt. How much that really affected, them later in the year. So they want to be able to rotate so they can stay fresh. So when they get to Georgia in November or Vanderbilt in November, or, as they hope, potentially a playoff game in December, they are more ready to go. And so I think that the rotation at that position will be one of the more intriguing things to watch based off the fact that they haven't done that a whole lot. That's just not been their MO, because once they start a series, barring an injury, a timeout, or something like that, a stoppage in play, they never substitute because that defeats the purpose of the tempo. So, I think, for Tennessee, that wide receiver spot, the lead spot, I'm not sure you'll really see that, but if you're asking me who could be that new guy that maybe leads them in catches, if it's not Squirrel White, I do think it could be Chris Brazzell.
Austin Price of VolQuest joining us as he does every time this week. Austin, when it comes to Nico Iamaleava in his start this Saturday, how much is just kind of relying on some of the veterans, including the guys in front of him and some of the guys on the outside, that it can kind of calm the situation when you're out there for the first time officially as a starter?
I think you lean on the offensive line. I think you lean on Cooper Mays, Javonte Spraggins, even a guy like Dylan Sampson, who's not played a ton, but just, again, Dylan Sampson is very mature. There's a reason he was on the leadership council as a sophomore. He's a very vocal guy. So there are players you can lean on the offensive side of the ball if you're Nico. Brew McCoy is another one that, it's been well established how much, Nico looked up to Brew when he was a younger kid growing up in California, and Brew was the hotshot star at the time coming out of Mater Dei. So there are options there. I do think Nico's laid-back, cool demeanor helps Kayla. Just kind of never get rattled, although, again, this week you have to worry about that. But, that first month, neutral site game in Charlotte, and then road at Oklahoma and road at Arkansas before you ever get a really meaningful home game against Florida on October 12th. So I think, his demeanor will be able to help him in those instances, but those other veteran players can help him as well.
And Austin, just playing off of that, I know we get people here that call in and say, oh, you're starting off the season with a cupcake, and then you go and see what happens with Georgia Tech and Florida State, and Florida State has already opened up the season with the loss. How beneficial is it to kind of get a game like Chat before you get into some of those games that might be more meaningful for these tune-ups for a new guy like Nico?
Yeah, I think for fans and even for players, it's not nearly as exhilarating as playing a big-time opponent, but it does allow you to kind of wade into the water in the shallow end. You're not getting tossed in the deep end and saying swim. So as a team, I think that, they may not appreciate it right now, but if they are able to work on a few things, clean them up that they struggle with week one against Chattanooga, it may benefit them week two against NC State. So I think it's, again, not ideal because you'd like to get, right to playing a big game, but at the same time, at some point in your schedule, you're going to play an opponent that you're going to handle pretty good. Why not go ahead and get that out of the way and kind of knock the rust off, so to speak, in this first game against Chattanooga?
Austin Price of VolQuest with us at Austin Priceless, where you follow him on Twitter covering Tennessee. Austin, on the recruiting front, the Vols get a commitment from defensive back Onis Conan-Banny over the weekend. What does Tennessee like about him, and a guy that seemingly has a lot of upside and was wanted by some legitimate programs, namely Florida State?
They love his length, his explosiveness. He's still raw. The kid, again, grew up over in parts of France, parts of England before he made his way to South Carolina. And so, it's not like I'm expecting him to come in here and start as a true freshman, but they love his upside. They think he's got all the things you can't teach, all the traits that Coach Heupel talks about when he talks about recruiting players with the media. And so they love his demeanor and just kind of his personality. So, again, longer corner, explosive, and a kid that can run for his size.
Austin, this weekend on Friday, I'm going to bring up a topic that was certainly a big topic of conversation in the VolQuest chat last night. George MacIntyre at Brentwood Academy on the Zone this Friday night for our game of the week, taking on Brentwood High School. Brentwood Academy losing to CPA over the weekend, a late interception in that game, and a lot to sort through. Austin, what does Tennessee like in George that maybe, I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this, we won't get to see as much of this year because there is a big system change that is happening there that Paul Wade's had a lot of success with, but again, maybe a longer transition time for George this season?
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to watch that game, but based off, I've seen all the comments, just to call it a 1980s offense, that type of stuff. I knew he would ball control it some to try to protect the fact that his team's not as talented as other teams in Division II AAA. I don't know exactly what it'll look like going forward. I thought he would tailor it a little bit more to help George showcase what he can do, but George obviously has got a lot of arm talent, calm, cool head on his shoulders. He's a competitive guy. George doesn't like the fact that they weren't very good a year ago. But at this point in time, where everything's at in D2 AAA, Brentwood Academies doesn't have the horses that, McCallie and Baylor and even Knoxville Catholic's got Tyree King, who is maybe the best player in the state in 2026. So, they just don't have as many weapons around George. George still not got a great offensive line. That's not changed since last year. And, even the best of players. So I think George has got to just focus on himself, do what he does best, do everything he can to help his team win, and understand some Friday nights it may just not be enough because they don't have as much talent as some of these other schools that, in this new kind of modern Division II AAA, and it's a thrill element with some of these schools and the talent that they're able to bring in.
Austin, a couple coaches' questions, man. Tony Vitello finally got the payday that he was looking for. I think he make more than some MLB coaches or managers these days. Okay, so shout out to him for that. So that question,
Ramon Foster money, buddy.
Hey, Austin.
I don't mean the NFL money. I mean just the 104.5 stuff.
That's right.
Get out of here, Austin. Come on, man. You ain't supposed to flip it on me like that.
Austin spicy this
Austin
morning.
ready this morning, man. That's what I'm talking about. But Tony V got the bag. And the other question is in the current sport, football, too. If Tim Banks goes out and have that type of year, man, do you expect his name to be a little bit hotter, or will Danny White and Coach Heupel and the powers that be try to keep him around for as long as they possibly can?
That's a great point. I would expect if he has a great year on the defensive side of the ball, that he'll get some suitors. Now, ultimately, he wants to be a head coach. Yeah. But it will be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. I think, you're looking at a defensive coordinator that's on the last year of his contract, I believe. And so, I think that there's some talk of an extension, but I think a lot of that will depend on, kind of what, Coach Banks wants to do / what, the administration wants to do. If you let him get out there and he has a really strong year, does that put Tennessee in a tough spot, from a standpoint of Peter says, oh, well, I'll see you guys later. We'll ride this hot hand to somewhere else. So, that part's a storyline to watch. And then, Coach Vitello, deserves everything he's getting, right? He came along at the perfect time. Tennessee Tennessee fans have been looking for a winner. He kind of caught lightning in a bottle, had, that personality that, was super approachable out in public. He gravitated towards any fans that wanted to take a picture, wanted an autograph, whatever. And just kind of that fiery Italian personality, between the white lines on a game day is something Tennessee fans can just resonate with. And so, the Vol fans love them some Tony Vitello, and Tony Vitello reciprocates that, immensely.
For sure.
He is Austin Price at Austin Priceless on Twitter, VolQuest, and On3 covering Tennessee athletics. Great to get to a game week, Austin. We appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Austin.
Austin Price with us this morning. I wanted to ask about the George MacIntyre thing because I've gotten a lot of comments from Tennessee fans about this, and I'm just going to quote the great Coach Dave McGinnis. Can we please just keep our powder dry?
Yeah.
Please.
I've even seen in the chat
there
a lot
were
of that.
a lot of comments on VolQuest about this. Said I'm close to this situation again because I've covered and broadcasted high school football in this area for a while, and the idea that the new regime at that school and Paul Wade coming over and taking over is running this quote unquote 1980s offense that Paul Wade has had success everywhere that he has been. Everywhere. He won state championships at Innsworth. He's won state championships at Davidson Academy, at DCA. Now he's at BA. This idea that a high school coach is hurting a quarterback because of a new system is completely unfair and ridiculous. It's week one. The kid is a senior in high school. We got to keep our powder dry.
What's the gripe for him, for George then? It's just that folks expected a different product?
They lost to a really good team.
They lost to
CPA
a really good team.
is a power. They got a lot of good football players.
Yeah, I've seen it in the chat too, and I was just wondering what's the gripe. I hadn't seen George play live, so
and I watched most of the game. We were on air for Nashville SC, so I've caught up with some of it. But it's a brand new system. They're going from kind of a Heupel system that he was in sophomore year that he thrived in to now it is a lot of under center, pro style, run the football. It's going to be different. Will Levis is changing systems. It's going to take time for him to adjust. Any quarterback at any level, it's not going to be a finished product week one. The kid's in high school. Too many Tennessee fans just don't want to have nice things and just hit the panic button way too quickly for me sometimes.
I was just wondering, was he missing bad throws? Or
there was a late interception that won the game for CPA.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's week one of a high school football season.
Yeah.
The legendary Maurice Fitzgerald will tell you, anybody who listen, regular season wins and losses just get you ready for the postseason.
Okay.
It's a playoff sport in high school football. So it's week one, new system. I want to take the time to tell people to keep their powder dry. And I think Austin understood that as well. So anyway, there's my rant for the day. I'll shut up when we come back because Nick Saban said something pretty funny on television. We'll play for you next.
United Structural System is a foundation repair and waterproofing company that has served Middle Tennessee since 1994 and the surrounding area too, by the way, too. They have more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. So when it's hot and dry weather is outside, and it is dry right now, y'all, all right? Well, check your house because you might notice some soil cracking or pulling away from your home, leaving holes or gaps next to the foundation. Are your bricks cracking, walls bowing, doors or windows sticking? These could all be signs of possible foundation issues. Your house may be trying to tell you something. And right now, you need to take advantage of what USS has going on. If you do need something done for your house and it's over $2,500, then you get a 10% off on any job. They also have same as cash options, no payment, no interest for a whole year. This deal ends August 30th. And again, I'm telling you, it's hot and dry outside. So go check your house for those foundation issues. If you need basement waterproofing done, or mold treatment, concrete leveling, go to the folks at I Trust because they guarantee their best. And that's why you got to call USS at 615-488-7855 or online at USSTN.com.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard. Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Wrapping up hour 3 on Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW. Coming up in 15 minutes, some NFL headlines from the morning. including the most interesting position battle decisions the Titans have to make today. Ron Slay will join us in a half hour. And in 15 minutes, some Tennessee tickets. That's right, boys and girls. It is a Tennessee Ticket Tuesday. We have got Vols and Mocs tickets for you coming up in 15 minutes. But guys, over the weekend, College Game Day returned in Dublin. Guinnesses were not being drank at the rate that they were on Friday on the Pat McAfee show. However, fun was had by all. College Game Day back again. I thought Nick Saban was excellent in a lot of the things he had to say. I did think it was interesting that, and maybe I'm overreacting. I probably am overreacting. It's what I get paid to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
That he is still an advisor at Alabama, but with ESPN, he's going to other teams' practices. Like he was at FSU's practice in Dublin, yet still has an office in the Alabama facility. Is Nick Saban the new Connor Stallion? 615-737-1045. This was Nick Saban, though. I liked this, talking about what we do and what he has learned about doing TV.
I spent my entire coaching career accosting people who speculate, make predictions, and ask hypothetical questions.
What?
Now you're in this world. So now I'm in this world. This is my gig, and it's hard.
Yeah, you better be right. You better be right.
Hard.
Yeah, you better be right, too. I
spent my...
There you go.
I love that.
Harder than he thought. Listen, it is going to be funny to like follow some of the predictions he makes or like things he does say that like don't happen because he's not going to be as good at making like predictions as I think a lot of people will think. Like he'll be wrong, just like all of us are. But it's funny, the new appreciation Nick Saban has for media.
Welcome, Nick Saban, to the other side.
Absolutely.
Whole time.
I will say he and Greg Sankey had a phenomenal conversation this past weekend discussing the SEC. It was absolutely one of the best ones I've heard on SEC Network, man. It was really, really solid by them. They mentioned a lot of stuff, but Saban going into this different world, to me, is just like, and your point about him not always being right, that's what he's going to have to get used to. A lot, just because coaches are coaches and players are, know the game doesn't mean that we're right on a lot of stuff. I've learned that myself when it comes down to evaluations of stuff is you look at it through a different lens when you're a former player or coach. And that's where it's going to be fascinating. But the conversation of Marty McGee this past weekend, I think it's from the SEC conference when they were down in Austin. That was a unique one. He's got a lot of insight. I'd much rather not have him in a prediction role. I need Nick Saban
as an analyst.
Yes, give me the storylines and what you saw. I don't need him being in the next prediction guy.
Yeah, it's almost like what you think of when Bill Belichick has made, kind of, what is it called? Showcasing on Pat McAfee or whatever he might be doing in those small roles. What he brings to the table is really good because it is coming from such a brilliant coaching mind. But like, there's certain things that I don't want him to predict what a game is going to be. Like, just kind of break down things for me and keep it at that. But I think that'll be the fun part of Saban because he's not used to being wrong. And he doesn't like to be wrong. So it's nice to be in that humble position sometimes too, in this type of a new situation you're putting yourself into as a full-time media member.
Is anybody going to tell Nick Saban not to come to their practice though?
I don't know.
If he has to go to Rocky Top.
I don't think so.
The first time someone would say that, though, I'd kind of laugh at it. I'd be like, that's hilarious.
I mean, I would. No, Nick's always been open, I think, for the most part, with what he's doing.
I don't think you can deny a guy like that if he's coming, right?
Yeah, absolutely not.
It's interesting. Josh Pate made the point on his show on Sunday, Josh Pate's college football show, a great listen if you're a college football fan, talking about how this time of year, like when we have situations like Florida State, where everyone thinks they've got the best defensive line and this amazing like situation, like one of two things could be true. Either people in the beat are just hypothesizing and are just guessing on things and that gains steam, which probably isn't the case, or people inside the program legitimately believe something and then it kind of gets exposed. And I think that's what, again, this early in the season, that's what we all learn and what the Nick Sabans of the world learn and what we learn when we make predictions is like sometimes the evaluation of people very close to a program is wishful thinking. You're trying to put something out there to give your guys confidence. And I think that could be the case about, Tennessee's defensive line, right? Like the people around the program are really, really high from people we talk to, from people, writers who are on this show talking about that. So it's always just interesting to see the hit rate of a lot of the talking season conversations when the season begins, because I do feel like it is going to be a chaotic year of college football, considering the amount of old teams that we still have for like one more year. And the guys like Carson Beck and the guys that NIL mixed with COVID years have still given us some 25-year-old football players for one final season. It'll be fun.
It is.
Our first
fun.
Thursday 3 is this week.
Oh my gosh.
On
it
college
is, huh?
football. That's right.
Crazy.
I've already been researching my picks.
Let's do it.
That.
Have you
Ready
really?
to go?
How are you
Just a little
feeling
bit.
this year, Ramon?
Kayla, always good. You hear
Okay.
me? Always good.
Just checking in with you.
Always. You hear me? Can't wait.
I saw a fantasy football punishment that I liked the other day. The guy who got last in one league had to do his whole draft inside a big dog crate.
Yeah, right.
He had to sit with his computer in a crate and do his draft. Maybe whoever gets last in the Thursday 3, there has to be a cage around this
Do you
chair.
have Zeus's?
Yeah. No, Zeus don't have no crate. He better not have no
Just
crate around
checking
here.
in to
Yeah,
see me.
absolutely not. He better be good in the house. You
Coming
know?
up, we've got Tennessee tickets for you. We've got players getting cut around the NFL and the position battle you are most interested to follow today as it pertains to the Titans. There's one that Josina Anderson has tweeted about this morning as it pertains to the Titans. Bert shaking his head. We'll get to that next. Hey, it's Will Bowling with 16 Middle Tennessee locations from Clarksville to Murfreesboro. Whataburger always keeps me full. I love talking about these folks. They have the best burgers, the milkshakes, the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich always hits the spot for me. And if you're around Murfreesboro today, look, school just started back for a lot of you. Maybe it was yesterday. Kids are going back. Whataburger's going to take care of dinner tonight. 2846 Medical Center Parkway. It is Whataburger's back to school bash. So celebrate the start of the school year with your friends at Whataburger. Kids eat free and free school supplies. 5 to 8 p.m. That's 2846 Medical Center Parkway. Tonight in Murfreesboro, kids are going to eat free school supplies as well. Go hang out at Whataburger. Grab yourself a burger. Get the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. Maybe it's the 2-piece Whata chicken strips for the kids. Whataburger with 16 Middle Tennessee locations. Whataburger, just like you like it.
People here know Genesis Diamonds as the value leader. They've proven it, okay? And these days, value is so important. The thing to remember is this. Genesis is true direct importer with connections that go back for 50-plus years. No middleman markups, no consignment fees, no third-party people to pay. And unlike other stores, Genesis works on a low profit margin. Their business is built on volume at a great price, so they don't have to make a killing on every sale, all right? It's the opposite of what you have come to expect in the jewelry retailing. But one thing people here really love about Genesis is this is where you can get her a better ring, a designer ring, a handcrafted ring that reflects how you see her. While other stores sell knockoff rings or crappy overseas rings, at Genesis, you can get her a stunning designer ring made here in America by top designers. These are rings made to last. Bottom line, she would be proud to show off a Genesis ring because it won't be mass produced. It will be something unique, something amazing. That's what Genesis specializes in, combining the best diamond value with the best quality ring to give you the total package with a free lifetime warranty as well. Genesis Diamonds, where luxury and value come together every day. Check them out. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. And don't forget about the incredible collection of amazing luxury pre-owned Rolex watches.
What's going on? 9 o'clock. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. Titans sending quarterback Malik Willis yesterday to the Packers in exchange for a 2025 seventh-round pick. Willis, likely the backup to Jordan Love, leaving the Titans with just Will Levis and Mason Rudolph in their quarterback room. That was one of many cuts or trades the Titans will have to make today before 3 p.m. to get down their initial 53-man roster. Stay right here on 104.5 The Zone to stay up to date on any roster cut-down transactions. Some of the ones that have happened yesterday and today. Lions releasing wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones. Cowboys releasing linebacker Damian Wilson. And the 49ers cutting Matt Breida. The big deal that got done yesterday, Cowboys and all-pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb reaching an agreement on a 4-year record $136 million deal that makes him the second highest paid quarterback or second highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. The deal includes $38 million as a signing bonus. That is the largest ever given to a wide receiver. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will begins our number 4, kicking off your Tuesday morning. Streaming live at 104.5 The Zone TV and the 104.5 The Zone app. We've got some Tennessee tickets. Tennessee Ticket Tuesday is back. That means we are in a football weekend, boys and girls.
Yes, we are.
Big caller number 5, 615-737-1045 to win tickets to see Tennessee host Chattanooga this Saturday at Neyland Stadium. Thanks to Shoney's. Delicious has been trending at Shoney's for over 75 years. Make sure to head in for a delicious meal today at Shoney's in Middle Tennessee with locations in Clarksville, Dixon, Lebanon, and Nashville on Donaldson Pike. Shoney's, always fresh, always delicious. Let's eat. 615-737-1045 and caller number 5 will win tickets to see Tennessee host Chattanooga this Saturday. 615-737-1045. Best of luck.
No doubt.
There we go. Hit it.
Make a day trip of it, man. That's big time right there.
That's my plan.
It's 11:45
Central, 12:45 kickoff right here on The Zone, courtesy of All Network.
How early you leave for that type of trip?
I think we're leaving around 6.
Around 6, God.
Actually, I think earlier than that. Maybe, no, I think our plan was to leave at 6 and go get a smoked turkey and Swiss with mustard and mayo on dark bread, extra steam with some fries from Gus's Good Time Deli.
Oh, you going to Gus's? I wouldn't even try to go on campus like that.
Oh, no, it's not bad on game days.
Go to so where's the parking also then?
We have a parking pass at an undisclosed location for the game.
See, but that makes a difference.
For the season.
It does make a difference. No, it definitely, at that point.
That's a must.
I'm going to need a golf cart, too, to wheel me around campus also.
Well, you could walk it. That's not a far walk.
It's not a far walk, but it's a matter of like the game day anxiety just being all on you and just, I'm a mess on game day.
It's okay.
I'm shaking right now, Kayla.
The anxiety's worth it. You get to watch Tennessee football.
What boots do you wear again? Sorry.
What boots? I ain't wearing no
the ones
boots.
made for walking.
Yeah, I was just checking.
They will walk all over you. But either way, somebody should be excited this weekend. 2 tickets. Pick a child.
Looks like we got a winner.
Pick a child.
Wait, what?
Whichever one is your favorite
Pick a
one.
child. Or pick a significant other.
He's not messing around.
Progress reports are coming out soon. We can start crossing off the list.
Reports.
We can cross off the
Right?
list real soon, man. Which
Just
one is
shuddered at the idea of progress reports.
I will say both of mine have gotten high remarks so far. We got a random
Then how do you
email.
choose?
It's still syllabus week.
Listen,
It's early.
Let me brag a second on this one. My oldest got one from his science teacher. Was super excited about. My youngest is doing pretty good in his too.
that.
Got advanced classes. So, hey, I love that they do sports, but we're gonna get this education, okay?
Go off, Kings.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Education.
Will, as I hear using ebonics for words, education.
Ron Slay coming up in 15 minutes. I'm sure he will be just not excited at all that it is Tennessee football game week. Because that's all he knows.
So have you seen one of those accounts? I forget which one it is on social media, but they've taken Ron's. Who the heck is Ron? Okay, they've taken.
I was going to say.
You do say that sometimes.
I do.
too.
Given Christian name.
His family name
Ron.
at times. Lil Ron is what family call him, okay? But they've taken his visual from
6'8", Lil Ron.
Lil Ron, yeah. It's a long story, man. He's Lil Ron, though.
Oh, God.
But
no.
he going to get me for saying that on the radio like that. But they've taken one of his moments on 3HL and used it for a new drop.
They have.
I don't give a damn about nothing.
That's all I know.
And that's on social media?
Oh, my God.
All the time. I see it once a week, and I love it.
I've
I
not seen
smile
it.
every time, and I watch it every single time.
I've seen it, the
It's
Traylon
awesome.
Burks
It's not old.
jersey.
No, not that one. It's a clip. So
different
you're
one.
not on the Vol aggregate.
No,
That's all
I'm not.
it is.
That's why.
It's fine. It's fine,
Yeah.
Kelly. It's totally fine.
It's all right.
It's a great clip.
I can only
It is.
imagine. I trust
A
y'all.
great clip like the barbershop, huh? Get it?
Sure.
Oh, my gosh.
I couldn't do that one.
It's 9 o'clock. You needed to aim way higher.
Coffee's kicked
I did
all
not.
the way
I wasn't
in.
trying to. I'm not always trying to make puns.
Coffee's all the way kicked in.
Jeremy headed to see Tennessee and Chattanooga. Congratulations to Jeremy.
What kid are you taking?
Who's to say?
Call in and say which one is your
So
favorite.
for those of you still calling in, the tickets have been claimed. Have been won.
Yes, indeed.
Relentless on the phone lines today.
Oh yeah, always.
Big time.
I see it.
Going to see one of the best college football teams in the country this weekend.
Do it. I mean, we already moved up the polls thanks to Florida State.
I know.
God. I don't know where I'm putting them this week. I think
Today's
they
a
might
poll.
be out.
I mean, they lost to an unranked, Kayla. They got to go from 12, what is it, 10 to 18 easily. I'm not
They're
doing
going
your
down.
poll
Depends on
here
what
for
else
you.
happens this week.
well, they're going to tumble. Let's
We
just
don't
say
get
that.
an AP this week? No.
It will be next. It will be on
Next Monday.
This next Monday.
Okay, well,
Because week 1 is this weekend.
no, but we got
Week
to
0 don't count.
tax them for week 0.
They will. They'll get taxed.
Okay.
At least in my poll.
I mean,
they'll get taxed.
they'll move down.
Yeah.
Don't mind
For
me.
sure.
It's football season. Will's hyped me up talking about the drive up to Knoxville, okay?
I can't wait.
And
Yeah.
my in-season just hate has started, okay?
It's okay.
I don't give about nothing.
I'm so ready, man.
I am too. I've been hating on Roll Tide Willie and group chats and stuff.
Blitz, Bama Blitz.
It's big time hate.
I did doing that drive Sunday to go announce the Tennessee soccer game on SEC Plus. Like I just felt like I got my 2 Buc-ee stops in, one on the way up, one on the way back. Felt like I was doing a dress rehearsal of driving to Knoxville.
Oh, you hit them both?
I did.
Oh man.
Well, I needed caffeine on the way because I was
I'm
suffering a little bit.
I'm gonna do something real slanderous here, okay? You're not gonna like this. I know you're not gonna like this.
What don't you like about
From Buc-ee's, I'm about to talk about them. It's only one product though, and I've tried it twice to see if it'd be better. Their burritos.
I don't like the burritos either.
Oh, no. What happens? Does it stuff you up?
No,
like
it
them
ain't
either.
even the stuffy part. It's they got to do better. They got to do better with the burrito because I
Is it
too
the
much sauce.
beans? Is it the
Too much sauce for me.
It's too much sauce.
Yeah, it's too like moist.
Yes.
Ew.
Yeah,
That's
there's
Bab's gonna hate you.
it's like
that
this like
word.
cream
Awful word.
sauce that's in them.
Yeah, man.
You gotta go. I did the candied pecans for the first time in a
those
while
are
on
good.
Sunday. Those were terrific.
Fire. Okay.
are tasty.
They have Ale 81 there, which is my favorite soft drink, which used to only be sold in Kentucky and now is sold in other establishments. And I mean, you either got to go the Boudin Kolache, which they only have until 11 a.m. now, or you go beaver nuggets or the chopped brisket or the sliced brisket. I prefer the sliced brisket with the bigger chunks
Okay.
of brisket. The breakfast sandwiches are very good.
The chicken sandwich is fire.
Yeah, that's good.
The smoked turkey, very
I
good.
ain't had
And the
smoked
smoked turkey,
yet.
yeah.
Very good.
I just can't stand when they start hollering about it.
Fresh
yeah.
brisket on the board.
As soon as I hear that, I'm like, all right, get back in the car.
I almost took a selfie with the beaver the other day. The beaver was walking around. Buc-ee was in our midst.
Was he?
She's talking about
The mascot.
I wonder how much he
stationary
gets
one.
paid because everybody else gets paid well. I wonder how much Beaver gets paid.
Ain't no telling.
I will say, when you went into I went in there maybe 2 weeks ago. It was like, oh, we're hiring managers at $30 an hour. I was like,
Yeah.
dadgum, man.
30 an hour?
Yeah,
No, like legitimately.
it is legit.
About
What
to
they pay
switch
these people.
careers. About to be Bert, the daggum gas station manager.
right? The car wash attendant gets paid that much almost.
You college educated, you at least got to be a step up as far as your pay, right, Bert?
That's what I'm saying. You come in, it's like you go into the Army with a degree. You come in as a daggum colonel. You got to go over there. You got to be at least like Buc-ee's backup or something.
Right?
I didn't know they was paying like
Oh,
that.
right. They put the prices
great. Yeah,
out.
it's out on signs.
Yeah. Go look the next time.
It's awesome.
If this don't work out,
Manager,
Paul,
6
Allison,
figures.
I'll see y'all at Buc-ee's on the way to Knoxville.
I'm telling y'all one thing. If Ramon starts working at Buc-ee's, he ain't going to tell nobody, but there will be signs. They're going to be pictures of one big-ass Buc-ee. They're like, we had to get a whole new suit for this dude.
Yeah, that or me stealing one of their grills out the back and have it parked in front of my yard. Like, we got brisket.
They have got the craziest stuff for you to buy, man, when you walk in there. We walked in the other day, and Cheyenne was like, oh, look, it's an ice cream cone maker. What the hell we need an ice cream cone maker for? With Buc-ee's face on it.
The cone maker?
Yeah, you put your own waffle mix in. It makes you a cone, man.
What?
Dude, they're innovative.
It's like if Sky Mall sold brisket. That's essentially if Sky Mall had brisket and gas, that's Buc-ee's. I love it.
Why can't they endorse us? And we could go do a show down there once a month. I'm serious.
Because I trash A&M too much. That's why.
You trash other schools more.
Yeah,
we
you
can
right.
get away with this one, right?
Ramon's an equal opportunity hater.
I am.
Yeah.
Everybody can catch flight on any given day. When they catch flight, it's going to be direct.
And the first one to tell you, I'm a capitalist too, okay? So whatever you need me to tap dance for, Buc-ee's, come on over here, baby.
Buc-ee's, let's go.
Most interesting part of the Titans roster today will be what for you of the 53?
Backer and safety. I wonder what they're going to do with those spots right there, because when it comes down to who's going to play, whether it's Elijah, Jamal, and Diggs and Amani, like there's a little bit of a there's a little bit of a log jam there as far as what you're going to ask those dudes to do. And backer and D tackle.
Tight end and running back, 100%.
Tight end running back for you.
Those are the two that, like, do you keep for? What do you do with Nick Vannett?
Yeah.
What do you do with Hassan Haskins if it's Julius Chestnut? So yeah, those two.
Field Yates gave a good description of the rules for today. So again, a player with 4 or more years of service is a vested veteran and thus is outright released. Those players can sign with another team ASAP. A non-vested veteran, so someone with less than 4 years of service time, is the rule in 2024, is subject to the NFL's waiver system. Teams also can place players on the PUP list. Those players are ineligible to return to game action sooner than week 5. Teams will also place guys on IR. This year, new rule in place, teams can designate up to 2 players placed on IR at the cutdown, which is today, as eligible to return. So that's after at least 4 games missed. In prior years, a player had to be on the team's initial 53 for 1 business day to be eligible for return as it pertains to IR. So different thing than PUP list. And then tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, the league will process waiver claims submitted on any player that was placed on waivers. Again, that's guys that with less than 4 years of NFL service time. And the priority of the waiver claim matches the draft orders. The Titans, again, 7th in the waiver claim order. Just initial 53s. So today and tomorrow, there will be a lot. Josina Anderson tweeting this morning that the Titans are an interesting team to watch at inside linebacker. Thanks, Josina.
That's so hard.
I feel like you shortened that tweet a lot. I feel like she said that with about 90 words.
Yeah.
Speaking of
you were a Josina Anderson hater.
The Titans are an intriguing match for a position on defense that lines up in the middle linebacker position. When I talked to people, it seemed like they would be interested in adding someone today,
All right,
tomorrow.
I've got the tweet.
Yeah, read it, please, because I'm sure there's
Didn't he just
900
read it?
words.
Oh,
The full
I thought
tweet.
that was a
No,
real thing.
that's what he thought. It was quick conversation notes. League source said teams are still making calls for defensive tackles and corners. Quote, and word for word, says it'll be interesting to watch what Titans do to further bolster linebacker depth questions. She was direct.
Succinct.
You know what? The one time I thought this was funny, one time Mike Vrabel called me Josina Anderson.
Did he really?
Hey, Josina. I looked at him and said, my name's not Josina.
Oh, Lord. We're talking about 2
and
totally
he knew
different
it.
colors
I mean,
there.
that I'd been covering him for a year. That just made me think maybe he just gone and tell Josina some information.
He was like, oh, sorry about that, Kyla.
Maybe.
Right? And then I slapped him. Then I just slapped him.
Real quick,
You ain't gonna say that to me.
Ron Slay coming up next. The next basketball game that Tennessee plays was just announced.
Indiana.
And there may... Okay, well, there you go. So we won't find out after the break. You'll find out right now.
I couldn't wait.
Ron Slay is next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Y'all, I was talking earlier, man. It's hot out there, man. Y'all need to get somebody over to make sure you're doing preventative things for your HVAC system first and foremost, man. But also, Hiller wants to take care of you. Now that summer's over for us football fans, we know that to be true. Kids are back in school. Well, you can also leave the homework to Hiller. This month, enjoy back-to-school savings with Hiller, like $99 drain cleaning special they have going on. You can get $500 off. Select high-efficiency HVAC systems and new tankless water heaters. If you haven't explored that, man, get in on that. You don't want to miss out. Or you can simply take advantage of Hiller's $1,000 off whole home generators. For more details, man, visit happyhiller.com.
Tuesday morning at hour 4 continues on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, joined by 3HL, SEC Network, radio extraordinaire, standing at 6'8" from the University of Tennessee, Ron Slay.
Yeah. You heard that big dog?
Tell
him one more time, Will.
Standing at 6'8" from Pearl Cone and Oak Hill Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ron Slay.
I think my dog was at the concession stand when you announced it the first time, so I wanted to go back through the starting lineup one more time.
You looked me dead in my eyes as you told him to read that again. You know I heard it the first time.
Get that one more time.
What is wrong? That's why you can't hear the Money in the Power right now being played.
Oh, I know my boy coming with it. Money in the Power.
You right on point with it, so I hope he turns it off as soon as you get on.
Yeah. Bert ain't going to do me like that. Bert always want me to hear the vibes.
I'm old. No. In season Ron Slay, I can't handle.
Hey,
Instrumental
Football Ron Slay, I can't handle. Okay, you start acting like a football player, and then we go off the rails.
Got to go off the rails.
Gotta go off the rails.
Hey man, I think my dog is in critical, man. I got to read back up on it. I saw something yesterday. Face mob, man.
Is he really?
I think so. I got to check though.
Scarface, the rapper, for the folks that don't know.
Yeah. Scarface, the rapper. Face mob.
Will's like,
Mob and Face.
H-Town legend. Man.
You saw him here at Brooklyn Bowl too,
man,
last year.
Yeah, and then the next time he came in, I missed him. But guess what he did?
What?
He reached out.
See,
big dog. I'm in your city. What's happening? I said, see, how I'm talking about connecting the dots. Networking. That was about Will Lee.
If y'all don't know Ron Slay, he got mad at me. It ain't many times he's gotten mad.
And
it's usually not mad, but it's disappointment.
There you go.
He was disappointed at me for not having, I didn't have a whole lot of Boosie. I have a lot of Boosie, but I didn't have it in my phone.
Right.
And my knowledge on Scarface, and I'm a ghetto boy, I'm tuned to it. But I went back. He made me go back and listen to all the albums, and I did.
Man, you got to
and
have.
I did.
You got to have that embedded in your soul if you from the South.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's just part. That's like me saying I'm from Tennessee or the South, and you don't know nothing about 8-Ball, MJG, 3-6. You know what I mean? You got to know everything.
Tennessee thing.
I had to go back. It is a Tennessee thing. And see, with me, I couldn't buy the tapes back then. I heard what was on the radio, but I did go back. Untouchable is by far one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life.
Cold-blooded, ain't it, man?
By far.
Ain't nothing like it. That's what it's about, though. You know what I mean? Y'all kids, do your homework. Know your history. Because we can't have you going on Family Feud or Jeopardy and all these places and you don't know what's going on, man. Forget life in general. It's these game shows we got to conquer now.
Seriously, that's a life goal to get my family on Family Feud.
Serious, man.
We would be hilarious.
It's
my
serious.
family's funny.
Our old teammate Madison Blevins had a good run on Family Feud.
Really?
Straight up?
Oh, yeah. The Blevins family had a couple episode run on Family Feud, I'm pretty sure.
How did they get on there?
I don't know.
You just
You'd have
applied,
to reach out to her.
honestly.
Dang,
They shoot all of that stuff in Atlanta.
Yep.
They do it in Atlanta now?
Yeah, it's a
I
production
didn't know
company
that.
out there.
I know what's the name. What is it? Yeah, you know what's the name
What's
now.
the name?
Darn, what is it when you got to guess the price?
Price is Right?
Right.
It ain't Price is Right. It's
Wheel of Fortune?
with
Jeopardy?
no, what's Drew Carey?
Yeah, that's Price is
Okay,
Right.
Yeah, Price is Right.
So it was
Come
right
on
around the
down.
corner. My bad to say.
Your education.
Yeah, all I knew. Yeah, that was it. All I knew when we lived out there, when we lived out in Cali, it was right around the corner from when we lived at
no
Palazzo.
kidding.
Yeah,
The studio was?
Yep, right around the corner. You see how long that line be?
Slay,
Wow.
you
You get cut off.
Slay, you always
Can't get
smell
in.
good, but when you came in today, you had a little extra.
A little extra something.
You had a
with it.
little Vegas on you, man.
Yeah.
How was that Vegas trip?
It was amazing. Vegas. Will Lee asked me if Vegas was Vegas. It was amazing. I had a blast. Shout out, Houston radio guy, man, was in there, and Houston radio guy was in there, dude. They don't think the Titans gonna be nothing.
They don't?
National media, they don't think they ain't Nathaniel. They think the whole Titan organization running around as Nathaniel. And I understand the riff, but they blamed it more on, like, we don't know what Will Levis gonna be.
Okay, what'd they say
You know
about
what I'm
Indy?
saying?
But
Like
they
that-
give him
At AR.
I said the same thing. I said, man, that is funny to hear how other people talk about it. You know what I mean? And then the other thing, I want to put this stake in the ground because I remember, was it Latham? T'Vondre Sweat, when he got on talking about, man, when people hear UT, they think of Texas. Well, you're wrong. Let me go on and tell you, it was this older gentleman, about 65, 70 years old, and he hollered out, hey, where you guys from? I said, man, from Tennessee. He was like, hey, man, you played ball. I said, I did. He said, we used to go to a lot of games. I said, man, that's what's up, man. Where y'all from? We from Vegas. You know what I mean? I was like, so when you hear UT, what do you think of? I said, Tennessee. Yeah, I said, I know what. And that's what we do. Yeah, man. We go from the masses. We go from sea to shining sea. And that's what we bring. We come from the depths of hell. And we rise up. And when football season is amongst us, that's what we know it as. So T'Vondre Sweat, you go tell all your logos. You go tell people. You go tell everybody. There's only one UT, and that's the one that resides in East Tennessee.
Oh, boy. Well, that was a really quick
Let's
cut
freaking
there.
go. Rod Slay on a game week.
Wow.
I love it.
How you guys doing?
You might have just wrecked your car.
I'm just saying. We
Don't
this
sue
the
us.
energy we
Don't
coming
sue
with.
us.
See, I knew
That's all I'm saying.
I knew when
I
you smirked
love
when you
it.
walked in here. I knew when you hit
waited
that
our
smirk
time.
what the energy was going to be.
We waited our time. Our time is now. We waited.
It's
Yeah.
like when you started training camp,
boy.
it said the
Yeah.
cars had a roof for a little bit, but
has.
eventually that roof has
It's
to
got to
come
go.
Yeah.
It's got to go. You got to hit the eject button.
All
It's
the
got to
way
go.
off.
Come on.
The
One
seats don't come
comment
out,
on
the roof
YouTube.
goes off.
One comment on YouTube says, my brother in Christ, it's 9:28 a.m. You're right. And in Knoxville, it's 10:28.
That's awesome.
Pacific time, it's 7:28.
And get what you-
We do not care.
Get your
We'll do it again at 9:30. We'll do it again right now.
We're running that thing right back. I'm talking about when you go through and your feet hit the ground, your eyes open up before you brush your teeth. You better think to yourself, inner self is UT. It's only one of them, and it resides in East Tennessee. Woo!
Wow.
I swear, y'all don't want us to stay good at football. You really don't.
Say yeah. We that group.
You really
Yeah, we
don't.
that group.
I want Slay to say the Bernie Mac. I ain't scared of y'all, son.
I ain't scared of you. Boy, that's gonna be hard to ignore.
that's squeaky.
Squeaky
He's
Smoky.
making his appearance
Squeaky the dog.
for the year.
Yeah.
There he
That's
is.
the energy we looking for,
Him
man.
and Zeus in the back right now.
Hey, man, Zeus was looking at
Scaring
his best.
the deer off, or
That was
not.
amazing.
This was the fun part of doing the Tennessee tailgate show a couple years ago with Slay.
We had
is
ball.
that we would do this and then we'd immediately go to like, so what do you think about the second string outside?
Get a little analysis in.
I'd be like, here's 5 numbers that tell you why Tennessee's third down success is going to be better today than it was last week.
We're also ordering
And it's like,
appetizers and drinks.
Yeah, that's all I know, baby.
I love it.
I remember the first time we did it, Will Lee came in there. He was like, Will had all his notes and everything. I came in there with some sunglasses on. Will was like, are you sure you ready? I said,
Oh, no,
"Listen."
I never doubted
I
that
said,
you were
just
ready.
cut the mic. But that was our first time working
Yeah,
together,
of
though.
course.
I said, Will, just cut the mic on. We're going to get this one.
I don't know what
promise.
Slay thought of me, but we made that work pretty quickly.
Yes, we
had
did.
a good
We got
time.
right into that. We had a good time
We
with
had a
that.
very good time.
Oh, that was awesome
my
right
gosh.
there, man. Whew. Drinks on air was beautiful. We weren't Pat McAfee.
No, but we was
Well, I don't know.
we was there.
Where's Carl Lewis again?
We was there with it, boy.
Yeah, buddy.
It's
Anyway,
different, man.
so let's do
man.
some analysis. Slay, what do you want
Let's
to
do it.
learn
All right.
from Tennessee
I'm
and
gonna cut my
Chattanooga
mic.
on Saturday?
Man, I want you to be able to see. I want you to be able to see, and I want me to be able to see too. But when watching the game, similar to what we saw with the Titans, they playing against the Tools against New Orleans. Make it look like you are more superior than them. Make you be you. You know what I mean? Make them have to rise up and have to play to your level. Don't you go down and play to their level. I want to see Nico add that thing out. Quick passes. I want to see people bite. See a couple little pump fakes. See them look safeties off. See them, you know what I mean, make people bite, go deep. I want to see that old line control it. And I want to see more so than anything, the defense get to that quarterback. And I mean make it a living hell on him. Like, I don't want that quarterback. We ought to have to see the second one early. I want to see the second one early. Because I want their coach to be like, you know what, okay, let me think on this. Are we going to use him the rest of the season? So if so, we're going to preserve him for this game. Number 2, let's go and get you in there. Let's get you some little game action.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You may not never get to play in Neyland again. Let's get you in there right now. Put you in there, get you some game action. Hey, you know what? At number 3, you be ready to go too. But 1, you start this thing off and live to fight another day.
Chase Artopius.
Yeah. Yeah, Chase ought to be chased by Pierce.
Former UCLA quarterback.
So he really wants some of this then.
Yeah, was at UCLA for 4 seasons.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see that. I want to see that rotation. I want to see Big Elijah go set the tone, be healthy throughout the season, but set the tone in this game. Big O, Norman Lott. I want to see all these dudes, man, because we've been hearing about it. We had a chance to talk to Chris Lowe, man. Chris Lowe told us this could be their best defensive line dating back to the early 2000s.
Stop.
That's saying a whole lot. He's not the only one. Brent Hubb said the same thing, and I'm like, wow, man. Like, the comparison y'all saying, everybody on that D-line in the early 2000s went league. Everybody. Not undrafted. Everybody went league. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, and played minutes in the league. That's saying a whole lot, man. That is a hell of a barometer to go reach, man. Lord.
It is.
Sheesh.
I'm to that same point though. Like I love what this offense could be, but if they do pop, you guys had a very interesting conversation with a dude that should be leading the charge this year, even as a sophomore, Arion Carter.
Yeah.
How was that with y'all and him, and just the difference in that injury and getting back to now?
I'll tell you what, man. Dude is very, very intelligent. Very goal-driven, focused on what he needs to be focused on. I think the taste that he got last year before getting hurt, that's what he needed to light the fire in his belly. And also to understand that, man, I can play on this level. You know what I'm saying? And you could hear it through his voice, man, through his words. Like, he was so, I don't know if that's being coached up or saying the right thing, but I more so believe, man, when you got Nick Saban coming to the door, knocking at the last minute, and you be like, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to stay on up here. It is what we believe it to be, him being that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see him, Peely get together, the film work that he was able to do outside of the game, you know what I mean, and then kind of, translate that to watching the game and being able to put it on the field. I expect some big strides, and they ought to be able to be clean and run free. So it shouldn't be he getting caught up in the wash and he ought to just be a heat-seeking missile, man. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think, you know what, also, I think Peely is the voice for them. But Arion Carter automatically said, man, it's my job to get everybody lined up and understand what everybody's supposed to do. That's huge for a guy in the second year, going in the second year, play just a half a year.
That's that youth presence that you look for.
Yeah.
Like for teams that are trying to stack up, you have your OGs, but what do most of the old guys do? It's like, we want to see you go.
Yeah, we want to lean on you.
Yeah.
You make our job way easier. You know what I mean? Because you can hold these dudes in line. I can go do what I'm supposed to do.
Slay, when it comes to winning the games you have to win this year, in terms of taking a step forward and continuing to build the momentum off of the recruiting that you continue to have, how crucial is it to win those games that you need to win? Because in the past, we've seen slip-ups to South Carolina. We've seen slip-ups to Missouri. How do they need to approach that this season?
I think, man, you're okay losing a game and being able to correct yourself. I think when you get to that point, the slip-ups, like in that situation, when you're talking about the loss to South Carolina, that's one of those, man, you need the breaks to fall your way. You need luck to be on your side, you know what I mean, to make that national championship run. But to get to that level that you're speaking about, you got to go win the ones you're supposed to win. NC State,
right,
regardless how you win it, you got to go win that one. You know what I mean? Florida coming in here, you got to go handle business. Going to Oklahoma, you got to go get that one. You know what I mean? And if you don't get it, handle it to where it was I can accept a mental mistake or something you can go back on film and correct. You know what I mean? You being undisciplined where you can come back the next week and be like, okay, we ain't going to make that mistake no more. But to go and get routed by someone, that ain't competing. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it happens, and it's understandable, but it better be something else where we look back and be like, okay, they had something a little bit more special on their side than we did, so wasn't nothing we could do. You're nipping at the heels of Georgia. You're nipping at the heels of Alabama. Like, that's where you want to be. Texas now coming into it. You don't want to fall out of that conversation.
Right.
I think you worked your way into being on the doorstep of being able to go into this party where you know Texas is, you know where Alabama is, you know where Georgia is. No need in going back outside and trying to find your car. Stay right there on the porch knocking on the door, man. Let valet handle that. We cool. Be able to go in that door, and the only way you can be able to do that is win them games and have it close in the end where you make it it's decided by a play or two. That's fine. We can live with that. But you can't take that step back.
Comment on YouTube says all that noise for Chattanooga is crazy.
Yeah.
Good.
Get what you should have told them. Said, listen, comment on YouTube. You ought to see the noise I make in my home when I get up. I'm just happy to be up. Yeah, you talking
I'm
about
reaching for it.
It's game week.
I'm reaching for it.
See, you misguided on YouTube chat. You automatically misguided. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. See, when you woke up, you put your shoe on the wrong foot. You probably went to the wrong bus stop. You probably went to the cafeteria and didn't get no lunch. You probably went to PE and had to sit and stand. You had to go to the game. You had to have this embedded. This had to be shot in your veins. That's why we do this. We only know one thing. And that's all we know. It's go Vols, and it resides in East Tennessee.
Rocket Top, woo! Rocket Top, Cheddar.
It don't matter. I don't care.
We will wrap up the show.
Where are your cares at? Where did you use your cares?
In my back pocket.
Of energy.
Campbell don't care.
Coming up next. Wrapping up the show, RKW 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, Kayla, and Will with Ron Slay in studio.
Yep.
Fired up on a Tuesday morning.
Yeah, game week,
It's
baby.
game week, and we're acting like it.
Yeah.
Properly.
Week 1 is upon us.
Tennessee is going to play Indiana in a basketball exhibition game. And the guy who's on the show after us is going to have to see us.
Yes, he is. This ain't one of those he can wave in the middle and be in a gray area. Oh, no, I care if we win or we lose. No, you going for Indiana. You wear your Indiana Hoosier stuff, and we're going to wear Tennessee, and we're going to see who come out on top. It's a battle.
I love it because unlike the bowl games that Tennessee has played Indiana in, he actually cares about the outcome and knows the players on the team that will be playing in this one.
Hopefully he has his heart broken a second time because he will be on the road when the Titans head to Detroit. So he will not be able to be in attendance.
Good. I'll be texting him.
Not a real fan.
Not a real fan.
If he was a real one, he'd take that drive down.
Jimmy Wyatt has been to every Tennessee Vanderbilt football game, I think, for like 30 plus years, with the exception of the COVID game where no one was allowed to go. And he would take red eyes to go cover Titans games and still go to Tennessee Vandy football and would always be there. Just saying.
He's not Jimmy Wyatt. Let's just make that clear.
Yeah, Jim is him.
Yeah.
Whole nother level right there.
Ain't much to IU other than Cap Alpha Psi and their basketball program.
That's about it.
That's it.
That is savage.
Ain't nothing else to it. And he choosing to forget one of them because he ain't joined the other one. He's not a new guy.
Real quick, good news for a Tennessee football player.
Who's that
we expected. Bailey Zappi was just released by the New England Patriots.
He got zapped.
Joe Milton. Stock rising. Buy it now.
Got that?
Go get him, Joe.
See, this is what Joe Box is, though.
Yep.
Joe
Every time
Box
it's right there.
Don't, as it stands right now, and from a history, don't do too much.
Yeah.
As long as you keep them
enough.
at Manning camps, preseasons, and continue to trick them. Continue to, baby.
Saints just released running back James Robinson, another one that just happened.
The one that was shot? James Robinson?
No, that's Brian.
Brian Robinson.
Running backs with Robinson
Commanders,
last
right?
name. That's got to be
Mr. Robinson.
Gotta be position racism right there.
Positionism.
Positionism is what it is.
Slay, what are you interested in today with cut day, with the Titans going down to 53? What do you have your eye on in terms of position battles and the last couple of spots?
Just to see how it shakes out, man, and see who actually, regardless of who gets cut, I want to see like which one of these guys get picked up. If somebody gets moved to practice squad or how quick, because I think, man, especially in the receiver room, it was a lot of talent in there, a lot of guys pushing. What happens as far as the D-line? That D-line, man, could you add? Do you drop in order to add the rushers, getting some guys coming off the edge? Can you go find someone? Or are you cool with what you got? You know what I mean? And you try to push ahead with that. So I'm wide open for all of it. I think it's different, man, when you get cut straight to 53. Like you don't have no work, no build up. Like, man, I got one more day. It's just automatically boom, it's over. Where that book at? You don't know about him, man. We'll see you next time. You know what I'm saying? So gonna be interesting to see how they manage it. But one thing I will say, man, I trust the heads in there, and they ain't did no wrong yet. So
sure,
let them roll.
Did you, I know you guys talked about Malik because it happened during your show, but pretty good spot for him to land in terms of continuing to develop and getting a chance possibly at some point to step up if he needs to.
Yeah, I think it was I think he was always going to get an opportunity because of the athletic skill that he has, but being able to see when he was able to develop, be able to go and see what his strengths are. Whatever coach was going to look at his film and say, in this case, LaFleur or whoever passing game coordinator is, whatever, they were able to look at it and say, oh, man, we can work with this, and that's good. And that's what you wanted to do. It's a process to it all. Coming out of college, getting to this point, being able to process the information, being able to stay in the pocket. You did see the gradual growth that you're supposed to see in Malik Willis. Like he was just, I think a lot of times we get jaded with our thoughts of what we see first, and we can't delete that. And then
Yeah.
to be able to go back and say, you know what, this is what it is. All right, you see it right here. Take this for what it's worth instead of what we took 2 years ago for what it's worth behind the bad offensive line, knowing he wasn't ready to be thrown in there, but everybody's going down. It's like, what else am I supposed to do? So Savage always talks about the coaching. And if you're not going to develop, you're doing injustice as coaching. You know what I'm saying? It's two parts to go to it. You got to have in game and you got to have stuff that's going to develop you outside in the film room and at practice at the same time. All that got to go together. If you're not doing that, that's malpractice in a sense.
Yes, it is, man.
I've got a weird headline for you. The Washington Commanders Stadium will now be known as Northwest Stadium.
Northwest.
What's the money in that thing?
Commanders are in the Northeast, I guess, kind of. Northwest Federal Credit Union.
Well, a credit union on top of that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's that West Coast ownership right there.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they get a lot of the Magics in that? I think the Rams.
Josh Harris is a part of that, too, and he is now the owner of the Washington Commanders. That makes sense.
So that makes sense. That's the connection. Oh, they're about to branch out. Talking about some naming right there, man.
No longer FedEx Field. So there you go.
I don't like that, man. But I also didn't like the change from Heinz to Acrisure. But
That's the toughest, and I'm not even a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I'm like, what? I can't even think of it of anything else but that.
Did they get rid of that big-ass ketchup bottle?
Yes.
Dang.
What happened to it?
No, it's still up. It's still up.
Okay, I was about to say, man.
It's a staple.
So
A lot of folks
Heinz Red Zone.
Yeah, a lot of folks would tell you that. I mean, Heinz, the business, hadn't been in Pittsburgh in a while anyway.
Really?
So yeah, it was appropriate at that point. Bless you, Will. But yeah, that was fascinating to see it.
Well, if they do end up getting rid of it, you let me know and we can go a half on it.
Oh, we can.
I want the bottom half.
Just don't put any on a hot dog.
Oh, ketchup on hot dogs is fire.
Expire. That would be expired,
Ketchup?
though. I think.
I'm good. That's like third on my list.
Wait,
I'd rather
you
have
don't like
a
ketchup?
We
I'd
ain't
rather
eating that.
not on hot dog.
Absolutely ketchup.
Oh,
eating
gosh.
Mustard.
Ketchup on
Mustard?
any and everything for me.
Any and everything.
Mustard, chili and onions with mustard, just chili and onions. I'd rather eat a bear hot dog than with ketchup.
No.
Yeah.
I ain't never had a
If it's
bear
made
hot
the
dog.
right way, like if it's a good grilled hot
Bad
dog
dog.
and it's still like moist enough, yeah, Dawn's going to hate me. I've said
God,
moist
quit
twice
using
today.
that word today.
Diving into it.
I love it. Keep it going. She ate my almonds yesterday.
Yes,
Get
you
it
did.
again.
It's the beauty of getting the first and last word of every segment. I get to just say whatever I want.
Musical guest, moist.
Oh, yuck.
Shut up. I feel like I'm going to change the outro music for today to go off Slay's energy.
Hey, I like it. I like whatever you bring
Let me
into
guess
it.
what it is.
What do you got for us?
There it is.
Oh,
That feels
fantastic.
good. It feels good.
Hey, man,
I feel
appreciate
it.
y'all coming today.
Yeah, appreciate y'all, man.
It's
Make sure you put something in
Armani
the change
Moore
drawer.
days until football time in Tennessee. Gerald Jones days is the one I'm still going with tomorrow. It'll be Robert Meacham days until football time in Tennessee tomorrow.
Shout out to Meach, man.
Meach.
One of the coolest dudes out there.
Super cool.
You hear Rod Slay 3 to 6 every day on 3HL. You know we'll be tuned in. Slay, thank you for the time as always.
Always great to be with you guys.
Bring in the energy. We'll recap a Tennessee football game with Slay next week, and Ramon Foster will recap words of wisdom for you right now.
I must remember it all the time. Go Vols, but your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot, baby.